I got my fist full of money, I'm about to get some swag on up, swag on up, swag on up. Got my fist full of money, I'm about to get some my team on screen, I'm about to let go. Got my swag on up, nigga, jocking from the low, that's the only way we go. Got my fist full of money, I'm about to get some more, go.
Hello and welcome everybody to not just another night here at the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. It is our finals night here. We have the April finals, the grand finals, if you will, between SK Rakunyans and OTM eSports. This is what this month has been building up to. Super excited to see it happening. On the casting table tonight, you're going to have me, Sir Waltham, and with us once again from a little bit ago, if I remember correctly, Rich Rad on the other end. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing fantastic, and I am excited to be here to see these grand finals and be casting it with you, Sir Waltham. I cannot wait to see how these two teams are going to battle it out tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting some very good fights coming out of both sides here tonight. But before we get started with any of that, we do have our little usual pre-game interview. However, instead of just one, coach, in-game leader, anything like that, we're going to have both, or two members from both teams in here with us. On behalf of the Rakunyans, it's going to be Cup of Vice. Cup of Vice.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Well, from the casting side of things, it is going very well, Cup. And similarly, from OTM, it is going to be Salt Shaker. Salt Shaker.
What's up?
Fantastic. It sounds like everybody's really kind of ready to go here. I know I am. But we're just going to go ahead and get a few questions just to build up the suspense a little bit more. Gotta tease the Twitch chat a little bit. That being said, don't forget to vote for MVP in Twitch chat. But, all right, starting here, you guys have had kind of a little bit of a journey getting here. It's not been the cleanest of roads for everybody, that is certain. But we'll start with OTM. Salt Shaker, how are you guys feeling moving into this map?
Pretty good. Haven't really practiced much. It's finals week. Everyone's just kind of freaking out. So we're just hoping for the best,
Well, there you go. Finals week, you got to take care of those grades, all that kind of good stuff, and the final few days of competitive Overwatch. So I definitely understand that competitive grind. And how are things looking on your end, Cup of Ice?
Oh, we're ready to roll.
We're ready to roll.
The intensity, you could just see it.
Absolutely, that sounded very determined to me. I'm anxious for it. I'm ready to go. But just as a kind of a formality, we'll keep these questions going here. Salt Shaker, we were talking a little bit before the game. You said you guys had a little bit something exciting as far as compositions go. You don't have to give anything away here to your opponent. But anything you're willing to kind of share with the group?
I'm playing Moira.
All right, all right. I haven't seen a Moira in a good long time. I look forward to seeing that. What about you guys, Cup of Vice? Are you guys kind of anticipating any special strats or any choice juicy picks?
Yeah, we're banning Mora.
Oh no!
How to shut down the competition. Now,
Yeah.
the real question is that truly a mind game of the Moira to lead into that ban? That's the better question.
I just wanted to play Moira.
That is a very good question, but I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think I want the Twitch chat to be a little bit on the fence about that, but looking forward. All right, guys, if I know that a couple of you have been in the interview with me before, and you guys will know that I ask a lot of questions about sandwiches. All right, so
I don't. This is going to be good.
Salt Shaker,
Uh-huh.
if you have not already, tell us your favorite sandwich.
Alright, favorite sandwich. Let's see. Probably like a good Chicago hot dog, you feel?
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. I know that we've had some people in the past who have argued hot dogs more along the taco line, but
No,
that's
that's
for
a
the
sandwich.
Chicago, I agree with him.
that's for the Twitch chat to decide. Now, Cup of Ice, what about you?
Oh, I gotta go with the Philly all the way.
The Philly cheesesteak?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I feel that. I can get behind that. Cup of Ice. In one sentence, and I'll give you the same question after this. So, why do you think the Philly is better than the Chicago hot dog?
Too much to contain.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you get a really good Philly cheesesteak sandwich. You can tell because the bag is almost translucent. I get that. I like that. Salt Shaker. Why Chicago over the Philly?
Pickle mustard.
All right. You got to have that tartness. I can relate. I dig it. And now I've done myself the ultimate injustice by making myself incredibly hungry. So with that being said, I think we're going to be ready to rock and roll here. Cup of Vice, Salt Shaker. Thank you guys for coming around, hanging out, goofing around with us just a little bit, and answering a few questions for us.
NP.
All right. Good luck on your games tonight.
All
Bring the
right.
show, gents. Bring the show.
Absolutely.
PCYL. Can I have a goodbye kiss?
You can have a win kiss if you guys take it.
All right. I'm
Make
gonna
sure
hold
make
you
it
accountable
really,
to that.
Really sloppy.
Oh yeah. I'll
As
hold you-
sloppy as a Philly cheesesteak, maybe.
Yes.
We'll see where it goes. But
Yeah.
good luck on your games out there, guys.
All right, GG.
Thank you.
Now, Rich, we're going to be going on to Hollywood to start. And you have any opinions on this map as we look forward? No hero bans coming in yet, so it's just going to be the map as is.
I mean, the map as is, there's a lot of variation we've seen come in. I mean, there's a lot of utility on the Orisa, on that upper high ground near the Cafe region, which a lot of teams have been trying to go towards outside of the GOATS meta. I know we've been seeing that still so very much. But, you know, again, with this map, I think we'd be potentially able to see, you know, a Bastion, a Orisa shield, or a Crossfire from a Torbjorn Bastion, even coming in with potentially a Junkrat for that explosive damage again with the recent patch, getting that increase in direct damage, but shortening of the projectile itself. There's a lot of variety we can really see in this map, and it's something that is really exciting because you don't see the typical norm. Even though, again, we see a lot of GOATs, but it's great to see the variation, optimistically at least.
Yeah, and I definitely have to agree with you, especially considering the Rakunyans going to be a little bit familiar with, as you mentioned it, the Orisa, Bastion, and possibly Torb. We saw that exact setup come in last time they played Hollywood here. So it's definitely not something that they're going to be non-familiar with, so to say. And yeah, it's just it's hard when you have a team that needs to kind of egress onto that Bastion, make sure he can't, you know, just absolutely demolish the point, but you have multiple angles of attack with the turret. It's an ugly situation sometimes.
It really is. And, you know, with it even coming to this first point, I mean, it's very, very rare to get a full hold on the first position. So that's one of the biggest things is once they start to get that momentum, it's really going to be how they manage the high ground into the, you know, Western scenic payload push and how they can really adjust to it on those different levels. And hopefully, as we see going into it, if we can get some nice, just good minute, 2 minutes, even 3 run off the clock, that's one of the biggest benefits because the more time that you have in that specific streets phase towards this middle section, it's a lot easier to wear the time down there versus at the end where you start to get into more of that narrow corridor, that closed off environmental area that can really just hinder a team from pushing through the rest of the map.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. With that being said, or with that in mind, do you anticipate a lot of Widow action on Streets phase? Or Ashe action, Hanzo maybe?
I mean, I could see it. If they waver from the GOAT's composition, I do think that we can see the Widow play or the Ashe. We've been seeing a lot more of the Ashe, I feel, too, just because if they are going against, let's say, the GOAT's composition, if you get a nice Dynamite to hit a majority of the team coming into it, that's a quick bomb ultimate that you can use to zone away from the payload or even a sector of that pathway, and it can be very devastating to anybody that presses on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see the teams shake out right now. It's going to be a Ana Zen Goats coming out from the defending Rakunyans.
And for on the attack, I like it. You do see the Hanzo play. It's a little bit something out of the ordinary with the Torbjorn here. So they're looking to go to that more traditional, you know, actually correction, triple support with the 2 DPS as they start to maneuver down to the low ground. You see that early DMEC, which is going to be pivotal as they have the Immortality coming out by the Baptiste from Unknown. They do get the picks. They're starting to move forward. Lum doing a great job here to force them away. And that high energy charge from the Zarya play itself will go down. But it's just going to be a quick movement here by off the map eSports as they will look to claim this first and move into the payload push.
Yeah, it really seemed like the biggest detriment of the Rakunyans on defense here was letting that Torbjorn kind of shuffle to the side and get that turret set up just past that media room where we can see it standing now. And really, once that turret was set up, we talk about those multiple angles of attack. The team can push onto point, and if the Rakunyans on the high ground had to drop down, they took that fire from that turret, and it really just started looking expensive as it kept moving, as the fight kept going longer and longer, especially as you get the other cooldowns from Unknown and Razor offline.
And there's a lot of confidence coming in by off-the-map eSports. They have that solo tank where they have the triple supports, Dragon Strike coming through the center here, wanting to get some value. The Earth Shatter is on the return, will be blocked by the shield from off the map as they are looking to be very careful in retreat here. But again, this is one of the biggest things that they have to watch out for. If they exploit the Reinhardt, which they managed to do so coming out by SK, they are now going to collapse onto this team, and they have no front line to really handle it. The supports can at least try and do as much as they can to these DPS, but really, they're just going to now crush them and have to force a reset.
Yeah, and one of the players doing kind of more than their fair share of work right now, Infernal, making sure to mitigate a lot of damage, taking out the Torbjorn turret, taking out the Baptiste lamp, so doing a lot of negation of different abilities.
Graviton now going to lead into the Immortality field. Self-destruct on the high ground, going to land just nicely on top of the shield, so they will not get the kills out of it that they anticipated, with the Molten Core going to be forced on the side of off the map, trying to get some clearing positioning on this, since you did see SK play so aggressive and going to have to force them now to retreat as they're starting to get the advantage with that very, very pressed forward position.
Yeah, and that's kind of the disadvantage you talk about. You can get a lot of time burned off the clock if you're able to hold that very forward position, but it is extremely costly. I mean, we're going to see Jack barely get out of there, not even get out of there with his life as he gets cleaned up by Clankmeister, and now they're still going to get pushed up on, and they gave up so much space for that forward hold.
And you see them still trying to maintain this high ground. Again, they do have that very far position, but you do want to, like you say, watch out for Meister, because they don't want to play too far forward that they will get picked off. That Discord Orb going onto him immediately to know that they are going to try and get that early pick. But they're at a good point now, still moving this payload forward. They're probably going to have to look for the encounter just in front of the county jail, and they at least get rid of the turret to look for it to reset. But they're going to look for a flank here in the backside as now the Nano Boost comes out to try and engage into the choke point, though. That's going to be off the map, able to get all members into that position to knock them down, as they will collapse immediately to force them back, and they will be able to push this payload without any problem.
Yeah, and that was a very smart kind of anticipation coming through from OTM. They were able to see that the rotation was coming through from behind or through the saloon, and then they just put Tobias in front of it and just get the big slam onto the majority of the members. And again, we're going to see them push forward. OTM very much so liking to be the aggressive team here and just getting up into the face, getting as close to spawn as is reasonable and aggressive here.
And they'll lead with that Coalescence with the shield too to see if they can get that pick. They do get the support. This is now going to be very difficult. There is still a far distance for that payload to travel, but they're looking to secure this engage very far towards the ending point. Getting the grab, not going to get too much there onto Jack. Finally gets the execution by Unknown. And this is just, again, them really toying with the team, unfortunately, on the side of SK.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about, you know, they didn't maybe need to have that aggression since the cart was so far back, but winning the fight that quickly definitely helps to hamper the ult charge that's built off of the Rakunyans. If they get less fights, they get less ult charge, and right now we're only going to see Incipient and Infernal with their ults up anytime soon.
Earth Shatter at least knocking down one. The Transcendent's going to come out from the side of SK to see if they can hold on to it. One even exchange does get the DMAC onto Infernal, though, but they do have the dominant nature now with that respawn advantage so that they can have security to force them back, and really only committing the few ultimates to it. They at least kept Milo's sound barrier, which is going to be very crucial and critical to hold on to this next attack, as they have 3 minutes and 20 seconds and will look to stagger further once they get that rally.
Yeah, and in terms of holding the cart up, this is kind of the ideal spot you want to be holding it, because he does have a little bit longer of a walk back time, but it's not, I mean, you know, you'd rather held it on the streets phase or even first point ideally, but still, you know that there's going to be a long walk back. It gives you a lot of time to recollect yourself, re-plan. We're going to see how the fight breaks out here as we see the tanks.
And they're going to have to play cautiously. Milo got taken out early, so it did force the rally here by the Brig on the defensive side as the self-destruct comes through in the rear. Can they get the shield up? Will manage to get the shield taken down and follow up here onto Unknown. They're going to want to take this and try and fall back to hold on, since again, with that triple support composition still in the GOATS meta, that they have the Transcendence and soon to have Jack with the Earth Shatter.
Yeah, Clangmaster setting up on that Bastion was a little bit peculiar considering the location. They just had him set up on the boxes kind of as a big old pop-up target for the entire team, who were still playing pretty well around the geometry of the map. It just kind of gave a lot of ult charge, but you think they could have spent that time instead pulling the Bastion back and regrouping.
Now trying to maneuver to this choke point once again. That early pick damage. Here comes the amplification matrix that they're going to couple with the Bastion to try and get those early picks, but they are going to play very cautiously on the side of SK from the defense, knowing that that damage was going to funnel through this choke. Still continuing to move it forward. They got that Lucio play on the high ground still. They're wanting to try and at least get an early pick with the Bastion play, but the Earth Shatter going to come through. Won't reach the Bastion though, so they're not out of the clear yet, as the tank configuration now going to come out. Sound barrier leading the way for the attacking side, coming out from off the map as they want to claim this point as they get near it with a minute and 45 seconds to go. Transcendence though going to be forced out on the side of SK. They're going to try and be complete. Oh, but the early usage will allow the grab to open up for Clank to mow them down with the collapse in the Reaper as well, as hopefully this respawn advantage will help them out by SK.
Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head there. The fact that the early trance came out from Incipient, I believe it was, meant that the Zarya grab could go in and there would be nothing to mitigate all the damage, just focusing onto that grab. Clankmeister on that Bastion, able to just pour in all those bullets, not only helping him just get a ton of damage laid down, but getting that tank formation back online should this fight have dragged out for much longer.
And I mean, to be honest, I'm almost feeling that SK right now is trying to just be responsive and understand their opponent of off-the-map esports, because they're playing against something a little bit more unconventional. It's not the typical GOATS composition that you go into, and even to be honest, the Torbjorn, those types of characters that you don't really see too frequently in type of a competitive play, that if anything, it might just be throwing SK off a little bit because they're not used to that unorthodox selection.
Yeah, I like talking about it kind of exactly how you mentioned it, that, you know, most of the teams who are anything worth their salt are going to have practiced against GOATs. But how do you find something to practice against like this? You don't, first of all, you don't know that somebody's going to run it, but even if you do, how do you find another team that's willing to kind of give you their niche strategy like that? Like, there's nobody willing to give over that information saying, oh yeah, our Torb's really weak to just being Dove. Not really, but just as an example, you don't want to dive a Torb when he has his E up. That's the potential for some bad news.
Definitely. I mean, and even like we're kind of looking right now. So off the map on esports, let's look at the defensive side here, since we do have the readout. It is going to be the far play, keeping that pharmacy composition. We've been seeing it a lot more, but like I talked to slightly about earlier with that Junkrat, that is just able to break down that front line very effectively because of that just explosive damage. But they are going to go onto the Roadhog, which is, again, even something a little bit more out there that we don't really see at all.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of it might be in anticipation of the Baptiste, but a big headshot coming from Lum.
Yeah, getting the double quickly, taking out that hit scan very early on the high ground, not allowing the Pharah to flourish, which, again, with these staggers right now, that might give SK the opportunity to really press on to this point, forcing a retreat here. They will at least get some switches now. Salt Shaker going to go onto the Doomfist to give some variety, and now the Tracer as well, but really, I feel they're going to do this so that they do not get capitalized on the point and going to lose some value here.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Salt Shaker going to be switching to the Doomfist, knowing that Infernal is on this Sombra. Sombra's so good at disabling Doomfist. Like, right there.
Immediately to take it down. And again, now you're going to see the switch from the Tracer to the Ana. This is off the map being a little bit caught off guard. They have no idea how to respond to this, as it will be a quick tank here by SK, and they responded effectively to this. Those early picks by Loom was just absolutely critical for them to move forward after and switching back to the Zarya.
Yeah, it's one of those fascinating things where it's like, yes, the kills at the beginning were crucial, but not because it allowed them to just flood onto point like you might normally see, but it kind of definitely put a strong mind game into the heads of OTM, where, all right, we're going to switch, but we're going to switch to the suboptimal pick, or at least what seems like the suboptimal pick in Salt Shaker on the Doom.
And you're going to see him try and maintain that high ground. But again, you're taking a Doom into a Brig, and that's going to be really difficult because of the hard CC, especially into the Sombra, like you said earlier, where that hack is just so critical to completely delete you from any sort of denial in space or damage. And there's the follow-up now. You see Salt Shaker getting taken out. It's so peculiar to see them stick onto this composition as this payload continues to move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, Infernal is going to be having his EMP up real quick, and that's going to be bad news for Badger. Badger's going to have to play real conservatively here, especially considering if they die, they may not get their Transcendence up for another fight, which is definitely not a spot you want when the enemy team's already almost through Streets phase.
And I mean, like you said, already almost through it because it's 4.5 minutes. They are just building up this time bank to have so much to their advantage. EMP now going to be led with to try and follow up. The support ultimate going to follow. So many ultimates from both teams as they will unload everything to try and find a climax onto this last portion of this push here. Maybe going to be able to finally work through it. Does that Molten Core will not yield as much value because they were so tightly bound together, but going to come up late as they will reach this checkpoint and have 5 minutes and 40 seconds to keep pushing on the side of SK.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the things that happened, Tobias landed a pin onto Jack, but kind of ended his own life because of it. Jack had to fight in the Torbjorn slag, but he ended up getting drug out of it by Tobias. So Tobias kind of denying his own team the ult there. Oh, big pin onto Infernal from Tobias.
And again, the stagger. That's what they are being able to try and take advantage of. They have to start slowing this momentum from SK. They are in such a good spot right now with a lengthy time bank to try and contest this as they maneuver forward. Watching out for that Junkrat, getting the trap, Concussion Mine gaining value, and the Earthshatter Dragon at least going to get the kill here onto Milo to reset this team. And they're going to, again, need to watch out how aggressive they play here, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a back and forth thing. You know, Salt Shaker, you know, it's not going to be any better at spotting the Sombra unless you use that sonar arrow, but it doesn't have that cooldown on too often. We're going to see them trying to scout out the front of the spawn for the attackers, and Incipient going to be going down early.
And you saw them hiding underneath that stairway, not going to find too much value. They do get an exchange 1-for-1 on the supports as they're going to try and stabilize here. Nano Boost now on the front regardless of the hack. Not going to get as much value, but that's going to be now an unfortunate pause here coming out, I believe, mid-encounter for some reason as we're going to try and see if it can ensue still in favor of off-the-map esports. Once again, resetting here. It does look like that somebody did disconnect, so we will go to a quick break here for a moment, at least just taking it away and try and evaluate this. So, again, there's 4.5 minutes left. They know that off the map has been able to stabilize here on the defensive side, and as we wait for that 6th player, you know, Sir Walton, what do you think they're going to have to do on the side of SK to really contest and force this retreat of off the map?
Well, it's going to be tough, right? Because you see Clankmeister, they're going to have that Junkrat tire up. And it kind of depends on how Clank wants to use that tire. Because the tire can very much so be an easy fight win right off of the bat. Because it has the potential to take out 1 or 2, even in a worst case scenario, enemies of the opposing team. They use it mid-fight, then great, you don't have to worry about it for the beginning of the next fight. But if you lose the fight and then they still have the Junkrat tire up, then that's a tough situation because you can almost certainly expect that you might lose the next one as well. So I think really getting a hold of Clankmeister and making sure they're taken out as early as possible going to be a big boon, and making sure not to feed damage to Salt Shaker. We know that Hanzo can really work well, not just to deal damage, but separate teams.
And we're going to get it back underway, so as they do have the reconnect here. And again, they're going to have to be very careful. They lost the player, so they're down 1, but also did lose the ultimate economy from that 6th member that now they're going to have to reset with and try and come back into it. And it looks like it's going to be Reaper on the unknown for this.
Yeah, Reaper is kind of a weird pick. We don't see Reaper going up against a triple-triple as much, but Infernal on the Sombra does provide a little bit more validity to it.
And now the Riptire is going to come out too, seeing if they can get it. Will get taken down by Jack with a Fire Strike, and now they've lost it. Just like you said, they can't afford to have that on this push.
Yeah, it's weird that we saw the Sound Barrier come out that early from Milo. Peculiar.
And that now collapse onto the Graviton. Dragon Strike through the center here, able to at least get the turnaround. And there is Clankmeister coming in very quickly with the triple in the cleanup, as they will hope to push this team back by SK once again and consistently. But like you said, they have to focus Clankmeister. He's already at 70% again.
Yeah, the good news is they're not going to have any DPS ults up for this push, while a ton of ults will be up for the side of SK. So they're really going to be trying to take that to their advantage. And if they can play around Tobias, that Earth Shatter might be able to buy quite a bit. We might even see the EMP combo with something like the Earth Shatter. Not going to have the grab up for that big combo, but still a lot of potential here for those grabs to really work together.
And
or for those ults to work together.
And you see the background. Here comes Infernal, gonna pop the EMP, landing it onto at least one. Nobody else close enough. The Earth Shatter to follow as there are too many members falling to the backside, at least getting the Symmetra play out of the back, but that will be now too much for them to handle. At least taking out 2 at the Riptire, but Meister will not be able to follow up any further as they're gonna now look to go back to that payload, slowly maneuver it forward. And actually, Cakemeister holding onto that payload all by himself. There was some miscommunication. They're not realizing that they left it in the back, and that's going to allow some space here to be gained from the side of off the map.
Yeah, and it's not really to the fault of miscommunication on the Rakunyans. It's just that Clankmeister's tire ended up taking out the back line. So, you know, Jack and company were winning the fight up front, but they just weren't able to push the cart because nobody was behind.
And the raining damage still comes through that back line by Clankmeister, but they still get the numbers advantage on the side of SK Lum. Going to get very close to going down. Does get picked off here by the assistance from the Junkrat, and on a play by Razor. Death Blossom now to come out by Unknown, using that opportunity since they are staggered. No supports close to the front side of that. Ryan does get the kill onto Jack, and Milo to clean it up even further, as now we're reaching that 2-minute marker where they're really going to have to be careful on how they push forward and utilize their ultimates that they generate.
Yeah, and Salt Shake are going to be having an interesting ult to consider here. They're going to be having that giant proton wall that's just capable of absorbing almost, it feels like, all damage coming through on an infinite plane. And, you know, for the Reinhardt, it may not be that big of an issue, but if you start talking things like sound barriers, transcendences, it's going to start to make a difference. So they're going to have to be very careful to play around that if they want to consider adding a lot of ults into these next couple fights.
And they had a nice rotation on the side of SK, looking to get forward. There's going to be the Riptire, going to force out the DMEC, though, onto Infernal, and they will get the pick immediately after. Tobias now looking to collapse down, going to block the Earth Shatter for the majority of the team, as you have the Transcendence now on the attacking side from SK, giving them enough space. Graviton going to be thrown. Unfortunately, not going to gain any value out of it, as there is nobody close to home to pull him to the center, and even further, the damage not to be there. Pin in the backside, though, managing to get Unknown, now switched off the Reaper onto the Zarya, as they have the respawn advantage for off the map. Will they be able to contest it in time to try and get back to it? Still pressing forward. Milo having that sound barrier, wanting to wait for it to see if they need it. Doesn't need to worry about it because they will look to complete round 2 here with quite a shortened time bank.
Yeah, I believe it's around 45 seconds if I'm not mistaken, but both teams will have some time on the time bank. A minute to a minute 34, as we can see popping up here. But still, it was kind of an interesting way of looking at it, because we saw the OTM kind of have a consistent pace throughout the map. They would lose a fight or two. The first fight went their way, and then they would have their ebbs and flows. But for the Rakunyans, it was once they got to this third point was where we saw them have like the biggest struggle, and whether that was because it just took OTM a longer time to adjust, or because they just are a little bit better at staggering that defense. It's a little bit iffy to say, but it's a little bit noticeable on these play styles as we see kind of how that time bank was built up, with them having almost 5 minutes getting into the third point.
And I feel that Rakunyans are able to take advantage of the pitfalls of off-the-map esports more effectively, which allowed them, like we saw in that early push, where they not only reached they reached the payload transition, and then in through most of the payload, that they just continuously found opportunities of off the map. But if off the map esports can really start to bolster together and find their, you know, coordination a little bit better against SK, I think they're going to be in a good spot to really counter them here.
Yeah, they certainly will. They'll also be in a very good spot to build ult charge if Badger going to continue to damage boost Tobias on that Junkrat. Again, we saw that Junkrat build a rapid tire very quickly, and when you're talking about a time frame of 1 to 2 fights, if a Junkrat gets a rip tire in the first fight, that second fight's going to be ugly, and that's not a situation you want to be in.
And you're going to play this last fight opportunity. They got the intel by the Sombra play. Now going to look for the switch as they translocated back, as they are going to have to just try and attempt this. 30 seconds to go. They got the early pick here with the concussion mine onto the Zenyatta player, as they are just bunkering down. This is that Orisa play like we were talking about, as they got some damage as the rockets ran overhead with only 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. We're seeing a kind of a meager dive come through from Jack. It's just going to be the Wrecking Ball coming through. A lot of abilities getting destroyed here by the Rakunyans, but the first kill's coming out for the OTM.
Off the map now, having to force the drop down, looking to sustain through it. They're getting the picks on both sides as they get the res now back onto Razor with that Bastion to try and contest against it into the overtime. Collapsing down, you see that pressure by that Pharah play on the high ground, but now Razor in the back on that Bastion, just continuing to try and hyper-focus. Does get the pick, gets the triple, looks to hold them back. Nobody going to be there. It is going to be Lum, unfortunately, with Jack trying to just hold it into the overtime to see if they can buy enough time as the staggers will continue to come out, and that most likely will be it. Overtime will reach its end, as they are not going to be able to claim that first point on round 3.
Yeah, when I look at the comp that OTM is running and being very successful with, I call it kind of the gold silver frustration comp, because you're seeing a lot of comps that we would consider cheese comps or cheese characters. The Torbjorn that doesn't quote unquote require aim, the Bastion that's just able to funnel bullets in, but they're able to use it in such a way that they're really taking a weapon that is already very effective and even honing the blade even more, and just providing that Bastion a funnel to do more damage. They're really enabling those different DPS, as we saw Badger using the traps really well as well to get the kills on the Zenyatta early, or Tobias I think it was, to get the kill on the Zenyatta really early. So very crucial usage out of those heroes that you don't often see too much.
And one of the hard things is going into that type of composition is you have to commit such a heavy dive. I mean, with that type of defensive position you had with both the Bastion and the Torbjorn turret, it is just you at the mercy of. I mean, the only other thing I could have potentially seen is if they tried to play that inner wall to look for a flank with a Lucio movement speed, but even then it's so risky with all that incoming damage. If they got the pick right around that inner corner, now they're in a bad spot. You don't see them be able to regroup with the full 6 again. So I honestly think in the best situation, that was their best opportunity to really do something with it.
Yeah, but now it will be on the Rakunyans to hold fast here to get the draw at best.
And they're going to stay on that doorway here. They want the stairway. They're trying to get some vision. Going to collapse on the front side. Tobias having to be very careful, but they have the Roadhog looking to get the hook onto Infernal to bring them close into the backside. Is now off the map. Continues to press on. They're getting a quick stagger here onto 2. Not going to have any other opportunity if they continue this onslaught of the team of SK. They will not be able to stabilize through it. 4 members versus 1, forcing them back. Had a minute and 35 seconds to do so, and they have reached it swiftly to claim that first map of Hollywood.
Yeah, that was really well played by OTM, and you look at the comp, you realize, oh, they just ran all tanks with a Moira. And the Rakunyans, the way they were set up, they were kind of anticipating some heroes that might take a little bit more setup, that needed better sightlines, but they just put themselves face first to a comp that excels in face first combat, especially with that Moira able to provide healing to literally everybody. It's what can you do besides just die and hope you can get back to point at that rate?
I agree with you, but I'm also kind of in shock that the Reaper just got play of the game. I'm sorry. I had to take a second. I'm watching that. I'm like, okay, we said it's a little unconventional. You don't see it too much. Gets to play of the game, drops the guns, call it a game. But yes, as we move forward, so now kind of break down again, just for those that might be just tuning in, getting to know exactly how this is going to move forward. So it will be now the winners going to have the opportunity to eliminate a match, or sorry, correction, ban a match where the losers will pick it.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, since we are doing 2 best-of-3 rounds with a 1-map tiebreaker for the finals, it's going to be OTM, the winners of this game, going to be banning a map. Therefore, the Rakunyans will be picking the next map. The only exception aside from the map that is going to be banned will be Eichenwald. We're not playing map types back to back. So with Hollywood, we're obviously not going to be seeing the other hybrid map. So it's looking like the ban is going to be coming out from OTM on to Gibraltar, meaning that will not be in the map pool, at least for this first set of 3 maps. If we're going to be seeing it in the second, who knows?
And to be honest, I'm not surprised by that because of the way that they've played Salt Shaker, kind of just their overall composition here by OTM saying that that's not really what they would like. I think that's a good selection because there's a lot of vantage points. There's similarities to it where you have the staging between the docking bay into the open atmosphere at the end of it, where there's a lot of potential pick opportunity for Pharah composition, Widow composition, hit scan, and I think that's gonna be better for them as a whole to ban that versus, let's say, the Junkertown map.
Yeah, but on the converse, we saw that the Rakunyans really, when they kind of needed to have that dive, we saw that that we were just talking about it, how that Bastion needed a really concise dive. The Rakunyans not quite able to put that together under that quick sort of pressure. So if OTM was able to build the pressure, then Gibraltar, a very dive-heavy map, may have been advantageous. But I definitely still agree. And Lijiang Tower going to be the next map to be picked. I definitely think that that kind of plays to both of these teams' non-conventionality. We see a lot of Pharah come in, especially on Gardens. Night Market, perhaps one of the more standard ones we see get played, but I always have to talk about Command Center. I love seeing the possibility of that May fill in for the triple-triple.
And it also looks like here that they are going to ban the Junkrat. Now, again, just for clarity, it is going to be the ban for both teams. It's not that you are banning it for the opposing team. It is for both teams to utilize here into this map. And I do like the selection. We already have seen some great Junkrat play here, and they want to remove it. They knew that they were having difficulties getting into the back line to take down that Junkrat amongst everything that was going on. And I think that's a really great pick for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Junkrat ban may have had a little bit more relevancy if we were playing something like an assault map where you can expect the Junkrat to get a lot more utility from having that defensive setup. But I still don't think that in this, you know, the King of the Hill style modes, which we often talk about being very deathmatchy, you can still just pour out a ton of damage with Junkrat. And when it's deathmatch style, that Riptire can absolutely destroy some players. So avoiding that, or avoiding a situation like that, can definitely provide a big boon to your team if you're, you know, not so proficient with it.
Very much so. We're going to be on the center here. Got 15 seconds as these teams get ready to see what they will have coming out here. And, you know, with this being the typical, I would not be surprised to see the GOATS composition, the triple-triple, coming out from both sides to kind of see it. But to be honest, the fact that on the map has that advantage going into this, already claiming the first victory, this is a map that they can afford to lose, because with this control map, getting it out of the way, they already have the confidence of having a win. So if they lose it, they can at least kind of go into this next match strategically to find a map and an opportunity that's going to favor them for the third to make sure that they get that best 2 of 3.
Yeah, it certainly have a little bit of wiggle room as far as their comp is concerned. I don't want to speak too soon about what they're rolling just yet. I'm seeing lots of swaps come out, but Salt Shaker on the Orisa, kind of known for this hero as far as I hear. So definitely something to be looking forward to. The Orisa Hog pulled pork combo with the Bastion setup, and the Baptiste sets up for some very powerful bunker positioning if they can get it.
All right, now as they do try to collapse onto the point, you do see Rakunyans get there first, able to start getting some early damage onto them. They have the immortality field in the backside, will get picked off though by Unknown, not going to gain nearly as much value, but they got a great flank here off the map. Getting that Bastion situated with the Orisa shield to sustain that high ground, finding the vantage point against it, as they have the opposing side going to be the Roadhog contesting against Jack behind the shield, and they'll be able to do so. Even though it's still in favor of blue team right now, SK having that contest, it will be immediately stripped from them, as off the map manages to take advantage of not only that high ground, but the upper high ground as well.
Yeah, and in there, it's one of those things where you look at the comp Rakunyans are running, and you think, man, if they had run maybe a dive triple-triple, that would have been perhaps quite different. They might have been able to take advantage of Clankmeister being separated on the high ground by himself and really just get that early kill.
And the halt now going to bring them right into the sightline. They do have the Ryan shield, but again, here comes Razor with the DMAC. The triple! Unbelievable job, as they will completely use that Bastion to their advantage, as they get an entire team kill here. And SK, they're going to have to really evaluate how they want to engage this fight. And they're going to look to go on with Lum to the Sombra, which is a great selection.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be the Sombra dive instead of the Winston. However, we're going to be seeing the Wrecking Ball. Don't necessarily say I disagree with it. And, you know, this is kind of rare. We aren't seeing the, you know, team holding point push forward, which I've been so used to seeing on Command Center. OTM just still going to be maintaining oversight on the point itself.
And you do see Lum trying to find value with that Sombra pick. Does get spotted out. Jack already going to go down. They have that immortality field to stabilize through it as the tank configuration comes out from the high ground by Razor with that damage boost. The ultimates all fueling that Bastion player once again, as Razor manages to just clean house with the rest of the team. They get a nice stagger here, but unfortunately, once again, you're going to see a disconnect on the side of off the map. Let's see how that'll, you know, fend off. And again, with this last opportunity, I feel already going into that 70% marker, very close to it at least. You know, with this dive composition, I feel that they're really going to have to try and focus on maybe the EMP, but it's so far behind, I'm not sure if they'll be able to generate it in time.
Yeah, that's kind of the tricky thing about this positioning coming through from OTM. They have, you know, a very small area. There's just two paths, one to the left and one to the right, to really get that hack off. And everybody's so jam-packed and crowded in there, there's going to be at least one person who can turn and react to Lum when they come out of that uncloak to get the hack onto the Bastion. So your chances of getting that hack off successfully, you know, first of all, targeting Razor to get the hack locked onto the right player, and then being able to pull it off without taking any damage, quite minimal, if I'm being sincere.
No, it's very true, because there's not, and then even if you are to get that hack off and try to divert yourself out of it, it's still a risk, such a high risk.
Yeah, you still have to worry about the rest of your team kind of collapsing when that Bastion is in that weakened form and losing that massive damage per second. And it just doesn't seem like Rakunyans have the answer quite yet.
And Rakunyans are going to try and take advantage of this. Again, they lost the ultimate charge, and Tobias is going to have to go onto the Tracer. Not a typical pick here, and again, you do see that opportunity to pick them off as they are trying to stagger around this middle ground to find some vantage point. They do get now Clankmeister, though. It's only going to be the 6 versus 5 versus off the map, as they are still going to try and use this inner pillar to block it. The Mercy going to drop down to the low ground as they try to collapse. Will they be able to mitigate it? Self-destruct on the low ground as another tank configuration comes out by Razor. Will get knocked off the edge by the boot from Milo as the Dragon Blade comes out by Rakuna for 2. And they are able to take it back at 99% into the overtime.
Yeah, and, you know, once Clankmeister went down, we saw kind of where they could capitalize on this point. Once they pushed up and took possession of point, because the bunker wasn't set up on point, it really kind of put OTM kind of in a tough spot where we have to send somebody down there so they don't just get it immediately. But when they do that, they punish Badger for it. They punish, you know, the Orisa when she drops down and gets the hack onto her. And it's just an ugly situation for OTM that they perhaps weren't quite expecting.
And you see some aggression coming out by Saltshaker on the Reaper. Not going to gain as much value. Jack manages to get the kill, but they try to counter against that Winston play. Whole hog in the back coming out from off the map. eSports, as they do get the pressure. EMP to try and contest against it, but you see Clankmeister out of that area to not get hit by it as the overtime ticks away. Nobody remaining, as they are going to claim this first round 100 to 39% over SK.
Yeah, I really liked the kind of turnarounds we saw come through for the Rakunyans. They weren't able to hold it. However, I think that Clankmeister really, you know, you talk about the bunker comp kind of being its own stand-in thing, but I don't think that would have been run nearly as effectively as if they had Clankmeister with the bunker, or, you know, playing a different unit that was, you know, more stationary, because that roaming hog really kind of made it hard for the Rakunyans to just play around that one piece of cover on the central point.
Yeah, and I mean, going into this, the Rakunyans, I think one of the biggest things for them is that they're going to have to get to that point first. Milo's been doing really great on that mobility, just because you don't see off the map having a Lucio play, which is a benefit to them. And if they can get themselves situated on the Rakunyans, they will have a better shot, I feel, especially on this map.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a reason for it. You don't need a lot of speed when half your team is going to be stationary anyway, but it looks like Rakunyans are exactly going to take advantage of that, use the speed, and get to point first.
And you see that McCree play getting very close. The dual hit scan. Saltshaker again showing that diversity in his character pool as they continue to try and press on. Not going to find the value. Saltshaker getting the pick onto Jack as they collapse forward. That flashbang gaining some value, but still not out of the fight just yet. Infernal getting even more with that Diva play, as it looks like it will start to go in favor of Rakunyans as they are going to gain it and add some percentage. But this is going to be a very scarce team if they cannot get back to it quick to give some support.
Yeah, and once again, it's going to be Rakunyans who have that advantage because they do have that Lucio to ferry back. It was just incipient, and Milo left on point. Tobias barely escaping with his life. But that fight got scrappy. I mean, when I say that, I mean there were only scraps left.
It really was, as now you see them looking for a flank off the map, doing a good job trying to find those vantage points for some shots here, coming out with the 76 on Tobias, having that tactical visor. Saltshaker going to get taken down, though. They cannot risk this. Again, they are just really trying to do this duo DPS with quad support, and I'm really not sure how they're going to be able to penetrate through this with these two tanks mitigating the damage.
Yeah, the good news is that Jack is not building a lot of ult charge, because if he were, there would be nothing to block his big Earth Shatters from coming in and landing onto all 6. There's no Zarya shields, there's no Winston bubbles, and there's definitely not a Ryan shield to handle that. And that's going to be a free massive Earth Shatter if he's able to build that up, but he's still pretty meager in it.
High Noon trying to look for some value. They're playing cautiously around this inner pillar, waiting to see if they'll get the shot of it. Not going to gain too much. The Fire Strike now is going to try by Jack, but now the Nano Boost onto Tobias with a Tactical Visor. The Sleep Dart going to come out as well by Razor, looking to try and get some value with the Immortality Field. But again, this is where now Rakunyans are going to collapse very easily. And I'm almost wondering if it's off the map, just really trying to test out some variation in their comp, since they've already at least gained one win on this map of Lijiang Tower.
I feel like that might be something you would think when you look at this team, but OTM, you know, they play weird comps, but it still feels like they play for keeps. They play very aggressively, and they don't just goof around. They come here to play these games, and you know, it definitely feels at times like they're playing to their top, and you know, we're gonna see the Shatterer come in and see if they're able to scrape it back.
And again, that self-destruct gonna go thrown out super far in advance, manages to get the DMAC onto Unknown, coming out by Infernal on the defensive side for Rakunyans, as they are gonna keep this 99-0. No real opportunity. The switch onto Unknown for that Diva play is gonna at least help them, but will get immediately taken down, as this is gonna be now that map for Rakunyans to lose, as they are in 99 to overtime. Won't be able to do too much more here as they get the staggers, and not surprising at all, they have been able to hold this 99-0 as they just look to get those last few members of off the map to get off the point.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to take it. I'm wondering if maybe they're going to be able to play this, Rakunyans that is, are going to be able to play this effectively on Gardens, because we will be going to Gardens next. Gardens a little bit more DPS friendly. The Rakunyans so far that we've seen tend to like the more predominant comps in the meta, so we saw them play a little bit more triple than we have seen on the other side. Other than that, I'm not necessarily sure how these teams are going to shake out against one another. I think that the Rakunyans going to have to play very carefully to avoid a lot of the boops, the pulls, the knockback effects that are going to be coming through from OTM.
And you know, going into this, like you said, that DPS opportunity is for sure a benefit here to off the map, but they're going to at least go in with the 2 tanks. They're not going to risk it, switching it up with the quad DPS that we did see, as now they have the Roadhog and the Wrecking Ball. Unknown is going to try and get a lot of value from these environmental kills, swinging in the backside. Also with Tobias looking for some boops, will not find the value. But now you see Rakunyans claiming this point very quickly to try and contest, as the res is going to come out here.
Yeah, and again, it was really off the back of Clankmeister getting those big meaty hooks that we really saw any kills come through. And now it's kind of going both ways, and the kills not coming through too quickly, which both teams are going to need here.
Rocket Barrage is going to be at least generated, but gone down so quickly to respond again. Once you use that Rocket Barrage, you are stationary and an easy target as they start to pick them off. I feel that the EMP coming out by Razor didn't need to be utilized, but again, they want to secure this. That's the problem here, is they will finally get it, with now off the map looking to start gaining some percentage against Rakunyans.
Yeah, and Rakunyans, I don't necessarily know if this is the comp for this. We're seeing a lot of disorientation coming out from the side of OTM, and when you talk about the triple comp, it does not want to be disoriented. It wants to have one focused target or one focused area to, you know, defend against. And this comp's so good at kind of shaking things around.
And they do get the Earth Shatter Coalescence to lead by Rakunyans to take it back swiftly from this team. They do have Milo and Rakuna gonna gain both of those support ultimates, along with Lum soon to have the grab, and they're in a good spot now. Rotating these ultimates are gonna be critical for them to claim this map of Lijiang.
Yeah, and another thing that will be critical is Infernal to be very much so keeping an eye onto Salt Shaker. Salt Shaker going to be having that Rocket Barrage. We saw it kind of cause a lot of destruction prior, so Infernal going to have to be ready with that Matrix, but getting Hacks not going to help that.
Now with the Minefield in the backside coming out by off the map, trying to gain some value here with it, will at least be able to force them back. The shields being somewhat whittled down as the EMP is now going to come out onto 4 members of the Rakunyans. This is going to be the opportunity for them to collapse from off the map as they unload a few ultimates of their own here. Sound Barrier going to be forced by Milo to try and keep his team alive into this fight, and doing a stellar job of it after the EMP falls off. Infernal managing to get back into it, taking down Lakemeister as they're still going to hold it. Trying to take it as it's and climbing for Rakunyans.
Yeah, that is going to be a very unfortunate push for OTM. They invested a few ults into that they didn't really get a whole lot of value out of. Going to be Clankmeister switching on to this Torb, maybe trying to get even more disorienting angles of attack. Diva bomb.
Not going to
Only
gain
finding the turret.
too. No, you're fine, as it will be now the Pharah on the high ground. Thought it would gain some additional kills onto the pharmacy composition, but not going to find it. 75% as they reach this last fight territory. Rocket barrage again is going to get mitigated. Milo going to get the kill as the defense matrix manages to mitigate a few of those rockets, with the wrecking ball continuing to harass on the side of off the map. Still holding on to it here, though, with 15% to go.
Yeah, OTM not looking too bad. And Rakunyans are going to be trying to get very aggressive onto this Torbjorn turret, really trying to, again, mitigate those different angles of damage. And it's going to have to be very rushed here from OTM if they want to take this map.
Minefield in the back, going to go into desperation mode, trying to get as many as possible. Milo at least going to get picked out. One of the supports gone. Coalescence going to be activated. EMP now on the return, coming out by off the map, as this is their last chance to contest against it. They don't want to let this go. As you see, 99 overtime continuing to shred away, and the longer that they continue to hold this, the quicker it will go, as they finally force back the Torb player. And it will be SK Rakunyans claiming the second map of this best of 2 series.
Yeah, and it seemed like Clankmeister at the very end there was kind of really working on just building his ultimate. Because that, Torbjorn Nacho Cheese, as I like to call it, can just be so great at clearing off a point, but it just took a little bit too long. The shielding discipline from the Rakunyans seemed to be a little too sharp for the Torbjorn turret to really build up too much ult charge on behalf of the Swedish engineer. So it didn't quite seem like they were able to utilize perhaps the aspect of the characters they really wanted to right out of the gate. Of course, we saw them utilizing the Roadhog as perfectly as they wanted to, but once the Roadhog stopped being effective, they really didn't have a swap that seemed appropriate in terms of resource and the ability usage.
And again, going into this is what we're looking to see. You see a 1 map to 1 map. They're going into this third one now to see who is going to claim this first set, and it's what we've been waiting for. This is what the grand final is about. And again, just to throw a little bit in there, it's going to be, going into this last map, I'm curious. What do you think would be beneficial in the remaining map pool for, I think at this point, on the or off the map to select? What do you think they're going to shoot for?
Oh, in terms of picking a map, I think that they would be crazy not to take Junkertown. I think that their Orisa and Bastion play has been way too strong to not take advantage of some good old classic pirate ship. And really, I don't know, they just play a very stationary comp and a lot of hog that just seems to really kind of, like, when you tell me the comp that we are talking about, the first map that comes to mind is Junkertown. I think that that's the one they should definitely put some consideration into.
I mean, we've seen some stellar Bastion play, so, I mean, let's be real. If we're going to go to the old school pirate ship, that's going to definitely be in their advantage moving forward in this.
Yeah, it does not look like that will be the case. However, the ban going to be coming through, Horizon getting knocked out, meaning that the choice from OTM is going to be Hanamura instead.
And this is a great map. Personally, I feel with the variety that we've seen off the board or off the map, esports bring out, like the Doomfist, like the Junkrat. I mean, again, they did ban it, and just their hero pool and just their creativity and what they want to play. I think this is going to be a really good map for them.
Yeah, worth noting that the teams will be switching sides, meaning the Rakunyans opting to start on the attack this time around. They'll be saving the Diva, and again, given the Bastion's essentiality in OTM's compositions, I don't blame them. The Diva's one of the best ways to deal with a Bastion, especially if you're just trying to dive instead of avoid the damage.
And with them potentially utilizing the Sombra again, which we did see come out slightly, where they wanted to use it to try and contest against it, there, I think, are more opportunities to find if they did want to combo the Diva Sombra. But it looks like they're actually going to ban the Sombra as we look at what they're suggesting. So this will be a lot riding on the shoulders of the Diva play if we do see the Bastion come out again.
Yeah, and I think that banning the Sombra does, at least if we're taking this at face value, show their hand a little bit. The Sombra obviously going to be the most crucial when it comes to dislodging that Bastion. So I think that, they're not trying to disillusion anybody by saying, yeah, we're going to continue to run the Bastion. And they just kind of want to take out, as many Achilles heels as possible for that Bastion. And, since Diva's saved, you might as well go for the Sombra.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with it on that as we move into it, waiting for both teams to confirm that they are ready for this match of the first set. And I mean, it really, I feel, can still go either way. I mean, it's not like one team is overriding the other so easily. They've both put up a great fight. And as we go into it, I'm hoping to continue seeing that level of intensity here. And as you said, it will be a switch for our viewers. So it is going to be SK Rakunyans on the right side of the screen as red, as it will be off the map eSports on the left is blue. And so far, it's going to be Rakunyans attacking first.
Yeah, and one thing that I've seen quite a bit in this tournament so far, and I'm kind of hopeful that the teams will utilize it on this time around, is so often on the attack on Hanamura, we'll see something like a Mei Symmetra, where if you know the team's going to be setting up a bunker comp, you'll just have a Symmetra teleport you to point and set up a Mei wall, trying to block as much damage as possible, get as much time on that point, and really pressuring that team to have to come onto point and contest you. It's not looking like that's going to be the case right away, but I still doubt that this is going to be the comp running out from Rakunyans.
I agree. I don't think it is. I mean, honestly, you know, as we allow them to make a decision here, we can always evaluate that defensive side. So it looks like it is going to be that Torbjorn Bastion play, and not surprised at all that we will have that. And it's going to be on that middle high ground position where that lovely right-hand side is through the window port. They can get the vantage point in that upper right position where the doorway is, along with the major choke that the doorway is of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, choke control is going to be crucial here for OTM. And we'll be seeing here shortly if this is actually what the Rakunyans are going to be running. Inferno going to be on the Diva. That's about the only tank it's looking like they're going to be running. The double sniper as well might be hard to get some damage into that Bastion if they choose to stick with it. Looks like some of the teams going back to swap, however.
Yeah, they're going to look to switch it up. They can't risk it here. Jack going to go onto the Winston, that dive. But, you know, with Rakuna, along with Infernal, going onto the Junkrat and the Hanzo, they will be able to whittle that shield down very quickly. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that they look to do here.
Yeah, as well, those are two very powerful ults at dislodging a team. If you have a Junkrat tire coming in, you can't stay still. That Junkrat tire will sniff you out, as will the Dragons if they're allowed to just gently sail towards you, dealing massive damage. So I think that the ult long game might be something that the Rakunyans definitely trying to play around.
And you see them having to reposition right now. Those shields are being broken down so quickly that they have to position themselves a little bit further to the inner side, not allowing the sight lines on that both Hanzo and Junkrat to break it down. And it's really good response here by Off the Map Esports with that Bastion shield play.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, I think that Lum is going to have their skills tested here going up against Tobias. We're going to be seeing, it's looking like Jack trying to get a little bit of progress on the point, but going to get spotted out. Not going to quite get that opportunity just yet.
Trying to waver the team away. Great idea here as they do get now the displacement. Jack trying to be the MVP right now for this team to just separate them from this middle high ground as they're getting a lot of value. Lum going to get that kill onto Tobias, so they no longer have to worry about that ranged sightline to now start shredding damage onto that shield. Breaking it very quickly. The Junkrat grenade starting to just tuck. Finds the position. Does almost take Razor down. Does finally do it, as that was a beautiful just positioning from those launching grenades, as they will start to transition down now to the point. You do see Clankmeister, though, with the triple turret kill. Oh my goodness, now the quad, as the Torbjorn is becoming that wonderful anchor of a player that they are looking for, as he claims 5 lives on the team of SK.
Amazing. Clankmeister has really, you know, in some instances been the anchor of this team, and it's ridiculous. You know, you expect that once the team breaks down, once all the shields are gone and there's nobody to really support, the Torb wouldn't be able to do much, but Clank definitely showing the lethality from just the standard left and right clicks.
Razor now going to try and use that tank configuration to force this team off the point. You do see that dive composition again with the Tracer, but really not going to gain too much value here, playing so very far back because of the low health. They cannot get enough here by Milo along with a Zen play, as they will have to look to retreat. 1 minute and 15 seconds. As they're going to try and find some more value. Riptire going to come out, looking to get the Orisa just behind the shield, manages to get it. Salt Shaker not wanting that at all, as they are now going to start to claim this first point.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talk about. Once that Junkrat tire comes up, the Orisa not able to do a whole lot of shield dancing. You can do a little bit with that stationary shield, but if you're just tucked into a corner, that tire's going to know exactly where to look for you. And there's going to be quite a few ults ready here for the Rakunyans to push forward with the Transcendence, Minefield, and Mercy Valk. Perhaps not the most aggressive ults, especially in terms of that Minefield, but we're going to have to see if they try to utilize them still to get that first point cap.
And one of the biggest things that you're going to now have to see Rakunyans focus on is trying to get onto this point and contest it, because now you see the positioning 4 off the map on that high ground, the opposite side using the Symmetra shield here. So if they can drop them and force them down from this high ground position, they're going to be in a good spot. But you see Infernal on the lower section looking for the dive. Going to go in now with the minefield. Beautiful positioning. Oh, and the Transcendence is there to try and counteract it as the teleporter comes up just in time. Unbelievable play by both sides as they will stabilize through it. Unknown now on the Zenyatta, going to force out that kill onto the... Oh, and the beautiful cleanup here. What a set of momentum shifts in that fight.
Yeah, amazing. Like, we talk about how dives really need that coordination. Jack and Infernal seemed really coordinated on that to be able to know, hey, the D.Va's going in to block a whole bunch of damage. I, as the Hammond, am going to pop up there, drop all my mines. It's just so unfortunate that Unknown able to pop that Transcendence, heal everybody who took damage, and then just mitigate some of those mines with their invulnerable Zenyatta body. It was some higher level plays all around from both sides.
Yeah, no, the heads up play was very, very pivotal, especially with that teleporter right at the end to salvage as many members that were low. And we're going to now see, again, 3.5 minutes. It's still a decent amount of time. Tobias playing very aggressive on this Tracer does go down here, so it might give some opportunity. But again, they have the respawn advantage. Winston now on the high ground, going to get taken down quickly by Razor, still surviving through it. The tank configuration now looking to get the damage, as that should be a cleanup here. But they're still getting some picks on the side of Rakunyans. Able to move down to the low ground, forcing Tobias back, using that recall. They want to get this tick. They need to slow and steadily gain one after another, since they cannot get a full-on attack. With the Dragon Blade now going to come out, looking to get the triple with it as they do take out the support. Trying to drop down, trying to contest. Will get another. Lum getting a follow-up. The damage is real as they were so hyper-focused onto the Genji Dragon Blade that it allows Lum to continue raining damage with the Widowmaker. Starting to get focused. Tobias, the only one left. They do get one tick. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, though. Salt Shaker getting back with that Wrecking Ball to try and contest onto the high ground, looking for that Widowmaker. They're going to get a second opportunity now to get the second tick with the Transcendence forced out by Unknown. This is the chance for them to stabilize. Like I said, that respawn advantage is so in favor on these maps, as they will look to hold them back. But they at least got the single tick so far, and will try and look for another.
Yeah, that was some really good positioning from Lum and the rest of the team. And talk about all the time how the Widow, you know, from a distance that doesn't have the opportunity to be contested, has so much power. And we saw it come through right there. Sure, they didn't get the full second tick. They didn't get all of the progress onto the point, but they still put the team of OTM in a really bad spot where they had to switch a lot of players, giving up a lot of ult charge just to defend as much as they did.
And they threw the self-destruct on the high ground, forcing them down. Good engage to get them to the lower section where they can contest. Salt Shaker in the back, hyper-focusing the supports here. Now they're going to look for the second tick. This is the chance. Now going to try and collapse. Tobias getting on the point. Not going to have the pulse bomb thrown because they get picked off. Lum getting a follow-up onto Salt Shaker as they are just going to try and give as much space as possible. Sound barrier now in game by Milo as Rakunyans do everything available so that they can get this last tick. Now dropping down. It's going to be Clankmeister on the Torb with the assistance from the Wrecking Ball. Razor looking to force them back. No, it's going to be the Torb. The tank getting two. It will be the follow-up as they are trying. Lum uncontested on the high ground with Salt Shaker trying to finally get the kill necessary, as they are just literally moments away from claiming this. Will get halted back, a minute still to go, and they are going to have to take one last stab at this with a full 6.
Yeah, it's definitely seeming like the Rakunyans listen to the tale about the tortoise and the hare, because they're taking this slow and steady and they're getting there piece by piece. It's really going to be on to this last fight if they can finally close out that third tick. And they're going to be switching up the comp just a little bit. Infernal on this Soldier 76 as a changeup. Jack also on the Hammond, perhaps to be a little bit more aggressive onto something like the Tracer or the Torbjorn. But that being said, a lot more hit scan to take a long distance advantage.
Coalescence now activated, trying to see if they can gain value with it as they do get the follow. Salt Shaker going to get the takedown on the support player, but easily turned around there by Infernal. Back and forth for these teams. 15 seconds to go. They are losing members left and right on both sides, but the respawn advantage still in favor of off-the-map esports. Can they get to this point to contest it? 5 seconds to go. Starting to regroup. You see the engage opportunity as it will be another staggered kill here. Nobody going to get to touch it in time. But with all due respect, you've seen them be able to almost get 3 ticks here and have a decent capture on that second point if they can have a solid defensive position. 95.8% to be exact.
Yeah, that was very solid looking through from the Rakunyans. I don't think that they're going to be too disappointed with that. And, you know, almost 3 ticks is not an unrealistic hold here on Hanamura. A lot of times we'll see teams hardly be able to get any progress after the first point. And I think it's really going to depend on how they play their defense, much more so than maybe how OTM is playing their offense. Because so far, this game has seemed very determined by defensive setups, or these games have been determined by that.
No, it's been very true, and it's very apparent for both of these sides. I feel like when it comes to the attacking, I mean, of course, it still looks like of the two, off the map eSports is a far more aggressive team. And, you know, with that being said, Rakunyans really have to be knowledgeable, and we've seen them respond to it very well. And if they're going to be able to hold on to this first point and run as much time as they can, and to see a full hold on this first point would be quite a spectacular thing.
Yeah, and one thing I'm a little bit wary of that we're going to be seeing is the Rakunyans on this triple-triple comp. We've seen time and time again that OTM has looked pretty dominant against this triple-triple. I don't know if it's maybe just the Rakunyans playing what they feel is their best comp, and if so, I can't necessarily fault them for that. But you think that if they were able to, switching to a different comp, something that, you know, maybe a little bit more dive-esque, given the play style, the aggressive play style that OTM has been playing, might be a little bit more effective. It just doesn't seem like the triple-triple's been working so far.
And they're going to try and do what they can with it. Again, if you are comfortable with it versus maybe what is best to counter it, that really might just be their option for this fight, as you will see Salt Shaker now playing that Orisa once again very well on that character, as they do force the Cryo Freeze out, as they're going to use the Mei on the side of Off the Map eSports, trying to contest it. One member in the back going to be responded very quickly upon by Rakunyans with that Diva play, as it typically is done with that easy mobility. On the high ground, though, still maintaining it. You see that Tobias Tracer play, still hoping to contest, as they're just really looking for that doorway to open. They need an early pick here for them to try and gain value out of it, and having a hard time doing so.
Yeah, it's really, again, going to be about how quickly this first point can get captured, and with Jack going down, that's not a great setup for the Rakunyans.
Losing that nice defensive shield, no longer having it. Now the Immortality Field secures them with that defensive position. They've lost 2, now the third. Cannot manage to do too much more here, as they're just going to try and run as much of the clock right now. Unknown at least going to have that amplification matrix along with number of ultimates stacking up to force them back. And one of the biggest problems right now that Rakunyans is going to have is slowing this momentum, as they will have 5 ultimates on the side of Off the Map eSports.
Yeah, really not a lot of potential going to be coming through here in terms of ultimates for the Rakunyans. We're going to be seeing Jack switch off of the Reinhardt. The sound barrier going to be the only thing that's going to really do a whole lot of slowing. Rakuna might be able to get some utility out of that rally, but still against that tac visor, against that damage amplification especially, it's going to be very tough. And if Badger's able to get a bunch of enemies, a bunch of the defending team frozen, that might be an easy point cap.
And they get the early DMAC onto Infernal. Transcendence going to be forced to see if they can drop down with the amplification matrix, getting a lot of boosted damage, as they will look to use the tactical, claiming Lum. Now starting to drop to the low ground. They have the sound barrier on the defensive side by Rakunyans to see if they can hold on to it. Blizzard, like you said, coming out now, seeing if they can lock down the few members, going into that very cautiously. But Milo manages to survive. Beautiful assistance by the supports. The communication was very critical there, and that's going to be Rakunyans now being able to try and hold them back, even though they are still getting a decent amount of staggered kills on the side of Off the Map.
Yeah, and a very expensive grab coming out from Alum, especially considering how quickly the respawns would have started to flip in favor of the Rakunyans. And again, I feel like it's both teams now we're seeing that piece-by-piece style where they're getting one tick, that's fine, back off, or lose the fight. Another tick, lose the fight, that's fine. And, I mean, that's exactly what we're going to be seeing coming out here from OTM. Salt Shaker on the Bastion, though, I'm curious what positioning they're going to try to take advantage of. It doesn't look like the Sims coming out, meaning that quick positioning is not going to be available to them.
And it's just really hard to tell. Like you said, that Bastion play is unique here, since they no longer have that real defensive position with the Orisa shield as they come out. Maybe they're just going to try and use it as a focal point to draw out the attention from Jack and Infernal to try and bypass them entirely for that close encounter. But no, there is going to be the switch. They will look to play the Orisa. They want that defensive shielding for him, and they knew going into this with the Transcendence now going to be forced out by Razor as they fight and continue on that high ground. Bastion looking to repair through all the incoming damage, does get the takedown onto the support player, but Lum immediately responding to it and taking them out, as it will be another good defensive hold here by the Rakunyans.
Yeah, and you think about that from the Rakunyan side of things. yeah, they may have lost a few members early on, but the Bastion and the Orisa take so long to reposition that if they want to get any good positioning on the point, they're basically going to be getting set up in that positioning by the time the respawns come back out and ready to do a second round of defense. I think it was Incipient or Milo who dropped early on in that fight. And, I mean, it's not that far of a walk, so you really have to be quick if you're going to get that Bastion set up, or at least have one that gives you a lot of utility later on into the fight as well.
Very much agree, as they do try to push that high ground again. They want to contest against it. It's like I said, very interesting to see them try to do this, where they want to lock themselves into a position to find the picks, looking for a halt to get some value out of Saltshaker. They've found a position, though, to stabilize with the Winston on the high ground. Now going to get the Immortality Field to survive through it, and that Discord Orb with the Sound Barrier getting a lot of protection here for Jack, as Lum gets the kill onto Saltshaker. And, you know, it used to be a problem with Saltshaker on the Bastion, but now that they're utilizing that Zarya shield to take the damage, that extra DPS potential that you see typically, like I said, in this GOAT composition, it's doing very well. And now going to continue doing this, as it will be so far that only one tick, as we do have, unfortunately, the disconnect right now for one member, looking to get Sir Walton back online into this, as it's so far only going to be one ultimate available. It's going to be Clankmeister trying to find that opportunity to use that Molten Core. Maybe going to try and regroup here on the lower section. You do see Jack jumping from the high ground, does get the Graviton pull, as now they try to contest it. Immortality Field going to be thrown out to survive through it with that now Supercharger by the Orisa Amplification Matrix. It will be the Transcendence coming out from the Rakunyans, dropping to the low ground to sustain through it. Unknown jumping back to the high ground. Nice job. Tobias might be able to find some value here on this high ground, getting damage boosted, starting to push it. Not able to do anything with 2 minutes and 30 seconds still to go here, as they will look to try and regroup. It's an opportunity for them to, you know, try and gain some ultimates here in this regroup that they'll have. Looking to see if they will find another opportunity. Any switches back into this. Infernal having that self-destruct, though, is going to be extremely critical for them to try and zone them out here. Having two ultimates now on the side of off-the-map eSports, as it will be Tobias and Razor. The Transcendence is also very important. You need those support ultimates to get into this fight. Looking to collapse down onto the low ground. Not going to have too much more here. Let's see if they can push it through this doorway. Roadhog now with the selection, going to continue to get them self-destruct to the backside. Will get one onto Unknown. Now with a Death Blossom coming out by Saltshaker in the rear lower section, seeing if he can force them back, getting some damage onto Jack, but won't be able to mitigate the entire team's worth, as that Tesla Cannon shreds through it. Let's see if they can continue to maintain this. Minute and 30 seconds still to go. It will be, again, only one tick for the side of off the map on the attacking position. Tobias getting a nice DMEC and kill, though, onto Infernal, keeping that high ground. Respawn advantage, though, still in favor of Rakunyans. Winston going to jump onto the higher position, trying to contest. Halt's going to try and get some distance onto that, but not going to do too much else. Moving through this bridgeway, trying to manage that with a Tesla Cannon damage. You see the Orisa playing a little bit further forward. Clankmeister trying to help as well. The Halt going to pull him to the side, but still will get back onto the bridgeway, as the primal ranged Winston is going to give some harass to the back by Jack. Slept, though. Beautiful response. Graviton to come out, as Rakunyans are not wanting this team to gain any more ticks with 55 seconds still to go. Moving forward, trying to hold them back, as they have now the opportunity. It will be, again, 3 members versus 1 in favor of Rakunyans, trying to see if they can do it on the defensive side. But the respawn advantage now going to start falling short. You see Clankmeister able to get one onto Incipient, as they will try to clear them from this point, looking for the second. Will they get that last point that they need? Jack going to hold it, going down, and that is going to be it. It will be off the map eSports claiming victory for this first set. And again, for those of you that are tuning in right now, that is going to be now playing the game, going to our lovely Orisa player, as we reconnect here with Sir Waltham. Hoping to see him shortly. Some internet and technical problems at the moment, as we are still going to bring you this live action right now before going into the second set right now. There's the completion right at the end of it, allowing them to claim victory over SK Rakunyans. And now, just so we do have an understanding with this, it will now go into a next set where you will see the lower seeded team, which is SK Rakunyans, selecting their hero. It will also be resetting not only the map bans, but also the hero bans as well going into this next set. It will be just a brief moment, as we do look to take that time to get the Sir Walton back into this matchup. So we will go to a quick break and pause for you until we are able to get ourselves back online, and then we'll come back with more action.
Thank you, Rich, for covering for me for just a moment, having some NA technical issues as it turns out. But we're back here with the Overwatch Watchers Brawl, and from what I understand, OTM ended up taking up Hanamura quite handily over SK Rakunyans, I guess despite or because of the Bastion comp. Is that correct, Rich?
Yes, I mean, as we were looking to collapse down onto it, there was some adjustment, but it switched finally towards the end of it, and it was really just unfortunate for, you know, SK to try and contest it. They were doing so well on that defensive side against off the map, but, you know, towards the end of it, the last-minute switches to Bias on the Widowmaker, along with Saltshaker with the Reaper, just their alterations towards the end of it, they found a lot of value, especially with that Infrasight coming out by Tobias, to give some great intel towards the end of it, and slowly just whittled away at SK and finally was able to claim that 100%.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that when you tell me that, I'm not necessarily so surprised. When we see OTM kind of pull out these, you know, we were talking about it at the beginning before they started their attack phase. They are a very aggressive team. When they pull out these more aggressive heroes that you were just telling me about, it makes a lot of sense. They're able to capitalize a little bit more. And really, when it comes to the second point on those assault maps, you need the aggression because you just want to get those kills as rapidly as possible so you don't have the respawns coming in. And I think it makes a lot of sense from what you're saying.
And also, just before we get into the next set, it will be, again, the last chance for SK Rakunyans to try and fight to get into that potential last control map. So again, for those that aren't and might not know, as we will go into this second set, if it is going to be SK Rakunyans claiming victory in this next set, it will go to a final tiebreaker map on Oasis. So that's what they're shooting for. And again, just to remind those individuals what they're fighting for, they are looking for that lovely sponsorship that is coming out by our great sponsors, Omni Coach, which has been kind enough to give us the prize pools for the first, second, and third place. And we're going to see who's going to be able to claim it, as they are still selecting this next map. And going into this, what do you think they're going to shoot for? Do you think we'll see a quick, immediate review of one of the maps, or they're going to try and go outside of the recently played pool?
Well, I hate to break the news to you, Rich, but I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I did see the call coming through from the Rakunyans already, and it looks like we're exactly going to be seeing another repeat of one of the maps we just saw. Rakunyans, you know, considering they took Lijiang Tower, that's going to be the map they're considering, or that they're calling for first time around this time. No bans or saves coming through, but I don't necessarily say I disagree with it because, you know you had the most success here. You may as well try to replicate it. Plus, I don't think they'll be as caught off by OTM strategies. We did see every single one of the maps go through. We saw Command Center, we saw Night Market, we saw the Gardens. So there's not really a question mark over the heads of the Rakunyans for the time being. Now, whether OTM's going to have more tricks up their sleeves is still unknown, but I think Rakunyans going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable considering that OTM's not been showing a whole lot of variance on this comp.
Very much so, and agree with that. But again, going into this, I feel that off the map... Ooh, we're actually going to have a quick reset there as we go into this for the ban, I believe. But yes, kind of like you said with the Lijiang Tower matchup, they know how Rakunyans are playing on this. They've seen how they've been able to respond to it, changing it up a little bit. And I think off the map might just have a slight advantage here going into it. Just, again, from how they started to change it up at the end, they took a little bit of a risk in that middle map, which we saw on Night Market, the last set. So we'll see how they go into it, especially on Night Market, if it does present itself in this next round.
Yeah, but one of the first that we are going to be seeing is Gardens, and this kind of works out to the Rakunyans' favor. This was the third map we saw in the rotation, I believe, and it was one of the ones that they won. So, you know, if they're able to get the win early here, it puts them kind of in a better position. And I think that this is also a chance to kind of regroup for the team of OTM, because it looked a little bit sloppy, if I'm going to be a little bit sincere, towards OTM. Clankmeister not really able to get a whole lot of value out of that Torb. It looks like they're going to be switching things up this time around. Going to have the Clank on the Junk instead. And then, to not much surprise, the Rakunyans leaning towards that triple-triple, this time with the Moira.
Very much so. And also, just for those that might not have seen the switch here that is selected, it is going to now be SK Rakunyans on the left, with it going to be off the map eSports on the right as Red Team, just because we did have that one last switch going into this, and the control point, as we have 25 seconds to see who is going to be able to claim this control point first.
Yeah, and, you know, Intrinsically, it seems like Rakunyans might be able to get there a little bit quicker, just because that Orisa might be a bit slower, but with Razor being an absolute pest on this Pharah, it remains to be seen.
Seeing some great early engaged Razor with that Pharah taking out Milo. But now it's going to be a 5-for-5. They get the pick. Rez going to come out, manages to get the Orisa back online here as they look for that halt to pull them close with that Coalescence generated so lightning fast on the side of Rakunyans, trying to heal through all the incoming damage. Earth Shatter now going to be dropped just before the shield, but the Dead Blossom comes out by Salt Shaker, able to claim two, as they are going to now turn it immediately back against Rakunyans as they had such a solid early opportunity to claim it, and crumbling down quickly by the great plays of Off the Map.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that really kind of sticks out between Off the Map and Rakunyans, it's the ult charge right now. We saw Razor and Salt Shaker both activate their ults. Badger and Tobias going to be having theirs online, but Rakuna the only one looking any sort of sharp in terms of ult economy for the Rakunyans. And, you know, I was about to criticize OTM for layering those DPS ults when, you know, you probably didn't need the Pharah, but they're building them so fast, I don't think they're bothered at all by that.
Ooh, they almost got a nice pick onto Infernal, but that was a lightning fast response coming out by Alum there with the shield to protect that incoming damage. They don't lose the DMAC early. Salt Shaker playing a little aggressive on the Reaper from the defensive side as they continue to try and hold on with a lot of damage raining in. But on the attack, you see Rakunyans trying to dive into this point very quickly. Jack harassing with that Coalescence available to lead in so that they do have some stability. Rocket Barrage in the back to counter it, though. Will get the DMAC and kill onto Infernal as they are having a difficult time to stabilize through this. Rakuna on the brig, getting the kill, getting the double, now looking for potentially the third, but no, Tobias takes him down with a fist to the face as there is 60% still climbing for the side of Off the Map as they stagger out Milo on the Lucio and finally reset.
Yeah, I think one of the big noticeable differences this time around is that the Rakunyans do not seem to be ready to act, respond to Razor on that Pharah, particularly Infernal not in the position or not having the resources to matrix a lot of that damage that comes through, both from Salt Shaker and Razor. And it's one of those things where, you know, if they sharpen up on that, it changes these fights.
And they lead with the sound barrier now on the attacking side by Rakunyans, trying to get the collapse in the back. Self-destruct, Dead Blossom though to come out, getting the triple, but triple in return! Oh my goodness, Infernal getting the immediate shutdown on the back. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Unknown getting the res here onto Salt Shaker. What an exchange in the fight as it will be round one completed on Gardens.
Yeah, and I find it hilarious that as I talk about Infernal not able to have the those resources up, as soon as Infernal pops that Diva bomb, we see the Reaper ult come out from Salt Shaker, so none of the damage can be mitigated. I don't know if that was a better play on Infernal, considering it got a triple kill, or on Salt Shaker, considering that also got a triple kill. But since the fight leaned in favor of OTM, you have to think that they're going to be liking it a little bit better.
Definitely agree with you. And, you know, going into this map, we saw the comfort pick coming out with the Bastion and the Orisa. Since it did work very well for the side of Off the Map, I wouldn't be surprised to see it again, but they may try to change it up a little bit to throw SK at Rakunyans off on this little attempt.
Yeah, and throwing them off not going to be too noticeable in the team comp. They're going to be sticking with what has worked for them at least once or twice, getting to this point anyway. Really, Salt Shaker are going to have to be very careful to play around Rakuna, the most notable kind of counter option there.
Tobias, nice reposition, just bypassing Jack to get the charge into the team so they can get the follow-up by Razor. What a swift movement forward as they are going to look to try and now maneuver, since they do have the numbers advantage. Jack looking to regroup with the rest of the team, trying to get there quick enough, but you're going to see now Rakunyans have to force a retreat, but the Earth Shatter now going to get them as they continue to fall back, looking to collapse onto it. Clankmeister able to get a kill onto Milo as Jack once again is out of position with the regroup as they will force them back quickly, and that Reaper's... Oh, the bash! The bash on the Salt Shaker, I'm sorry, that was great. That was cheeky. Oh, that was great, I'm sorry.
Salt Shaker calling it in chat, perhaps getting rightly punished for that aggression. But seeing that Earth Shatter come out from Tobias really shows you the difference in these Reinhardt's aggression levels as well.
And you see now the Earth Shatter landing it onto three. They're all stacked up, the three tanks to deal the damage, and that will be off the map, cleaning it regardless of the staggered kill onto the Reaper play by Salt Shaker. as they have an entire team kill and will look to hold this doorway with their lives.
Yeah, and this is where the breakthrough is going to be difficult on the side of the Rakunyans. They don't have a whole lot of burst damage. Luckily, there's not a wall, a May wall being run on the side of OTM. But it looks like Rakunyan's going to take some alternate pathing. See if it provides them any better results getting caught out for Badger.
And they now try to get the follow-up here. Will they have enough to do so? The charge in the back, again, staggered slightly in the positioning. Jack managed to divert out of the way as they do get a pick, though, onto Tobias. Huge pick for them to move them back, as it will be now the reposition by the Reaper to get close into the fight. They're actually probably just going to let him take it here. They don't want to risk it. They know that losing Tobias was so critical, and now they're going to start getting some staggers, unfortunately, though, before they start to recontest.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you know, you look historically, Tobias built ults very quickly. You have 3 ults online already. You're not too worried about having to retake one fight.
Seeing if they can maybe get some opportunity. You do hear that photon barrier being used, but don't know exactly how much it's going to benefit them. It's kind of in the corner of where that wall is, not gaining not as much. Graviton going to be forced as well here. They're starting to get the picks. That was actually very well done. A little bit overextension here coming out by Rakunyans. The sleep dart at least going to buy some time, but they're going to have one last opportunity to turn this back and hopefully contest against off the map.
Yeah, it was really Razor there who helped to punish the Rakunyans. Once they got through the doorway, I think Badger may have gotten some boops coming through, but once they got through that doorway, the grab came in and just held them there, making them 3 targets.
And now they try to collapse onto this self-destruct to give some assistance, but Jack getting the double onto 2 with the grab assistance as they will swiftly take this back now. Only 1 member remaining trying to hold on to it. That Valkyrie going to be forced. Unfortunately going to be lost now, as they are only going to have the sound barrier leading into this attack. But now again, the aggression coming out by Rakunyans.
Yeah, this has been back and forth. Once we've seen, you know, the Rakunyans start to strike back, the ult's going to be looking a little bit slender for both sides. Support ult's coming out. We'll see if that shakes out.
Rally going to give them some assistance. Nice shatter here to bring down 2 to follow up onto it. You see Rakunyans doing a great job rotating these ultimates. Going to now have Milo with the sound barrier and soon to have the self-destruct and potentially even the nano boost here as they reach this 60%.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the effect Kleikmeister is having in this game with that sim. I see a lot of the turrets getting posted up, and sure, if the Rakunyans poke through that doorway, they certainly will get melted by those turrets, but it doesn't have a whole lot of pushing potential, and considering how these fights are going back and forth, that's a little bit what you need right now.
Very much so, and they're trying to just funnel some damage through that choke point, and they can't really do so. Salt Shaker not finding value and not really looking for the flank either around the outer side. Nano boost now on the side of Jack. Grab gonna get thrown out onto Lum, seeing if they can get the self-destruct to follow the Earth Shatter in return. No shield! They're gonna actually switch it from behind them! Will they be able to turn it back as the Lucio forces out the sound barrier? Milo, the only one there. The Sim gonna turn around the backside. The Death Blossom coming out. They found the value. They completely routed around the team as it's going to be off the map. eSports claiming the map of Lijiang.
Yeah, I feel like I personally received a little bit of a masterclass there. I was talking about how I didn't quite see the value in Clank on that sim, using the teleporter to get relocated onto the point of no more than 15 seconds after I say that. That was kind of a treat for me.
I mean, let's be real. I even myself was looking at that point start to change, and I'm thinking, nah, somebody's just contesting it. They turn it back around, and my camera switched lightning fast to see it, as they were just waiting for that symmetrical play with the teleporters and holding strong because they were playing off the aggression from Rakunyans. You saw off the map just being able to play so aggressive in their nature, and it was easily responded to as well by Rakunyans, and they just exploited it and did a fantastic job there right at the tail end of it. My goodness.
Yeah, it's one of those clever things where, yes, you have the punished for your aggression, and that's, you know, that's a fantastic maneuver, not to take anything away from that. But then this also goes into this further thing where it's, you know, it's like booping the nose or swatting the nose of a dog. If you're negatively reinforcing that behavior, this means that the Rakunyans might start to now be like, oh, we can't get that careless, we can't get that aggressively careless again. So now they'll play a little bit more defensively. But when they play defensively, we see OTM just barrel into them and not let them catch their breath because of the defensive stance. So now it's just like the Rakunyans have no safe place to go in terms of aggression, unless you just want to count this as a one-off situation.
Agreed. I mean, it's that rock and a hard play situation where they have to pay much mind to their overall gameplay style, as they wanted to demonstrate their ability to play just as aggressive as off the map. But, you know, at this point, like you said, they have to be very aware of it now, and it's a difficult call. And going into this next match, as you've seen, you know, off the map already be able to claim the first set, they're in a good spot now, already claiming map 1 and putting a lot of pressure and seeing if Rakunyans can get that morale boost to try and claim this next map.
Yeah, and it's looking like actually no bans coming through for OTM. They're gonna let Rakunyans have pretty much free reign of the remaining map pool.
That's some confidence.
That is quite a bit of confidence, but perhaps the only thing they would be a little bit wary of are those King of the Hill maps, but you know that the Rakunyans aren't going to be able to pick them this time around. So I feel like it's justified kind of confidence. You know, Gibraltar might be the one thing they'd be a little bit shaky on. But the Rakunyans, once again, looking like they're picking Hollywood. And considering this didn't go their way the first time around, I'm not convinced.
I'm not as well. And I don't know if it's maybe just something that they feel that they're going to change differently that they were confident with, that they think that they can exploit. I mean, even just, you know, going into it, I'm trying to, like, dive into my mind to think about it. Because, I mean, in the reality, we did see, you know, the Rakunyans have a great aggressive push in the start, but really it only occurred because they got that early advantage with that sniper play by Lum to get those 2 kills and force them to switch to the Tracer Doomfist to have that quick opportunity to get back to the point to even contest.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where you just really kind of have to wonder what's going on in the mind right now. We are going to be seeing the Rakunyans opt, or well, it's rather going to be OTM opting for defense, so Rakunyans going to be on the offense, meaning the Rakunyans will be on the right when we start up here. But yeah, it seemed like OTM really kind of let a lot of their defense go just by the quick, like you're talking about, the quick efficiency of Rakunyans, those first few Widow picks. And if Rakunyans don't get that opportunity, or even if you want to minimalize it, that luck again, it's not perhaps guaranteed it's going to go their way, especially since the first time or the second time around when they had a second attack, they didn't make any progress on the point over the course of a minute, but still.
And you do see, it looks like it's going to be a ban on Orisa. So according to what the Rakunyans want, they want a ban on the Orisa. And, you know, they did have the very great play by Saltshaker. We've seen it, you know, in prior maps tonight, that there is a very critical, you know, role played by Saltshaker with the Orisa. But I don't know if that would maybe be the best value here, especially if they wanted, it's almost like they're wanting to secure that first point again and try and maybe maneuver into that momentum that they had once before and try and just, you know, bash their heads against it. It's very interesting to see, you know, with the selections that they have going into this match.
Yeah, and I think that you hit on a crucial point there. The Rakunyans definitely seem like a momentum-based team, but kind of to the detriment on the other hand, on the other side of the fence, OTM is kind of one of those momentum-stopping teams. They pull out, you know, they're not afraid to, you know, drop their comp and swap a Torbjorn for a Roadhog or a Junkrat for a Reaper, anything like that they think might kind of throw you off your balance a little bit. And it's really been showing to be a dance here, especially on some of these closer maps. You know, this map including the first time we saw it around.
Very much, and I'm almost, because they banned the Orisa, I would highly think that they'll see the Junkrat again on this map, because it was so crucial for off the map on both the attacking and the defending side, that when we saw it in those critical moments needed. And, you know, as you can even see here on the defensive position, because again, Rakunyans will be attacking on the side of red with off the map on the side of blue as the defensive position, and they have that Tobias Junkrat play again, which is going to probably gain a lot of value with, now it looks like it's going to be the triple DPS to support in one tank composition.
Yeah, and this tank going to be the Roadhog. So again, not a whole lot of damage mitigation coming through from here, just a health pool, a large health pool coming through from Clank. But, you know, in exchange for that, you get a lot of DPS burst from that Roadhog. It can really punish any missed positionings here. It can also extremely punish if there's no shield coming out, which for the moment, it doesn't look like the Rakunyans going to be opting for, but we haven't seen the scout come through from Infernal yet, so that might change.
And you do... Ooh, there's going to be a slight pause there as we do wait for that team to get situated here. Most likely a disconnect, as we will take a moment. But yeah, that pharmacy composition with the Junkrat is just going to fuel a lot of damage. And to be honest, since they don't have the Orisa, the health gen and sustainability from the Roadhog is, I mean, still feasible. There's a lot of opportunity to just keep him alive, finding those independent picks, allowing Bolt to buy. I mean, that also might be it too. You know, as I touched on at the very beginning with that patch note adjustment, it reduced the range of the Junkrat grenades and increased their direct damage. So if they can get a nice early pick or multiple picks with that hook and rely solely on it, if Tobias is there to get a quick double grenade, that's going to be an instantaneous death outside of the already combination from the Roadhog hook combo as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The concern for, I think, OTM is going to be if the Rakunyans comp that we're seeing come out now with Lum, Jack, and Rakuna on those long-range DPS, it's not really going to give the hook a lot of viability, and it's not going to give Tobias a lot of viability to lob a bunch of grenades into the face or body or even the zone of the opposing team. And then on top of the fact that you have no shield, that's going to be a lot of body shots taken for free. I think they just have to be really careful here to avoid those long-range damage dealers if that's what the Rakunyans go with after this scouting.
And they're going to have to really allow them to push forward. They won't be able to play far enough ahead with, again, the lack of the shield, that they need to play corners very effectively on the side of off the map. Because if they do get in any sort of sightline of Lum, which they're going to switch it up a little bit now after getting some intel by that Sombra, they're going to look for more of a dive composition here. Infernal going to come out with that Diva, Jack onto the Winston. Brig going to look for that hard CC and crowd control, as that's going to be a protect the McCree composition with the triple supports.
Yeah, and I like this. And McCree, perhaps not the best for dealing with Razor. Yeah, the McCree can have hit scan, deal a lot of damage, but more for the Salt Shaker Reaper. That flashbang fan, the hammer can deal a lot of damage and make Salt Shaker really have to get out of dodge.
And you see them collapse now to the low ground, trying to find a flanking opportunity, utilizing this corner and the health back to their advantage, as Lum is going to play very careful with this McCree. Again, the whole idea is to make sure that they can just give every resource to that McCree to do work. They feel confident on it, as they've now practically routed the team of off the map on the defensive side to the opposite high ground, and now going to start to claim it. Nobody really jumping onto it just yet. Salt Shaker out in the open. Here comes the flank now by Clank in the back. Wanting to find a hook, not going to gain too much, but they do get the kill onto Jack, and that is what Reaper does so well. Those high health tanks just shredding through it. No stun available with the Brig, as the whole Hog's going to come out to try and sever them, but a nice bio nade to prevent it, but nobody there to follow it up, and that's going to be a reset here for Rakunyans, as they are going to get overwhelmed as the Riptire does reach another kill on Tobias.
Yeah, and it's seeming like OTM not really having a whole lot of respect for ults. I'm not sure that Unknown needed to pop that Valkyrie right now. They will be a little bit more staying power on the side of OTM with this Wrecking Ball. But still, it's weak to Lum on this McCree. You know, anything with CC gonna stop that Wrecking Ball in its tracks, and not a lot from Salt Shaker.
Oh no, they routed very quickly around the inner side. Deadeye, though, looking for some value, might find it. Self-destruct going to be forced as well. Little bit of an overlap there. I felt that the Deadeye wasn't going to gain nearly as much value, since the self-destruct did route them away from that middle section where they were in the field of view. But at this point, they've still managed to claim enough here that they're going to force them back. You see that backline play from Zenyatta, trying to get some damage, waiting for the regroup on the team, since they do not have the Lucio to regroup quick enough, as the Transcendence is now going to be forced. They held onto it long enough to try and get the assist here. Salt Shaker back onto the point, going to get immediately stunned by that Brig play, which is a great counter to Salt Shaker at this moment. And again, they're just really wanting to gain this round. It's just the staggers, really.
Yeah, Salt Shaker, again, in a very tough spot to play Reaper, and in fact, I think they're going to recognize it. Switch to the Mei. So they're going to be running Mei maybe in the Streets phase. They certainly won't have the opportunity to switch now, as the spawn point will be relocating. So they're at least going to probably have one push where they're sticking with the Mei, it seems. And I don't necessarily know what they're trying to accomplish here. They're going to be having dive tanks on the side of the Rakunyans, so there's a lot of pathing maneuvering they can do around that Mei wall, not making it as effective.
And that Riptire trying to find the value. The sound barrier, though, will they be able to get somebody with it? It will be, unfortunately, another pause here, as it looks like we will have to disconnect. Looks like it is so far. Again, 3 minutes to go as they move forward, and you see the change-up onto the quad DPS with the 2 supports. Like you said, I don't really know exactly the mindset that Off the Map Esports is looking for here. I mean, they definitely feel confident with it because they're selecting it going out to this, but they get the res at least onto Tobias to try and stay in the fight here. And you slowly see them just whittle this payload forward against the team as they try to just manage this high ground on the side of Off the Map.
Yeah, and Clankmeister holding a very advantageous spot, holding up near the general store in that small room. That, coupled with Tobias's blast damage, makes that a very dangerous room to enter in. And we're going to see a couple people get punished for it, most notably Jack taken down on that Winston with, from the Torp.
A lot of ultimates stacking up, though. They do have at least the rally, which is going to be forced out. Now they do get the staggered kill. No, we're not going to gain too much out of it. The Winston primal range also going to be forced. A little bit of probably lack of communication there, not knowing how the stagger came out. Somebody getting picked off, but they're going to want to fall back and regroup here as they have 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And this is almost practically a repeat of what we saw just on the earlier position of the map.
Yeah, definitely. We're not quite seeing the most cohesive team look coming out from the Rakunyans right now. And, you know, Salt Shaker on this May not proving to be incredibly useful. We saw the wall come up a couple of times, but now with Jack switching onto the Rhine, I think that this is where Salt Shaker might really be able to utilize the with the May Blizzard coming out too.
And they do get a double with the D-Mac from Tobias on that Riptire. And there's a hammer kill. We've seen it. We've seen it in the grand finals. That is all we've been waiting for. Let's just be reals, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting Clank to switch off of Torb now that they have had their hammer bloodlust satiated for the time being, just onto, you know, Roadhog or something a little bit more meta, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and we're going to continue seeing this ground-style push coming through for the Rakunyans, and I don't know, they're going to take a wide angle from it, trying to wrap around to the cart, it seems, but we'll have to see if that yields any fruit this time around.
I mean, and Tobias is so responsive to this move. He is just landing the traps down below, choking them just airless with that damage, breaking through the shield, getting him out of the lower section now, and just consistently causing a lot of problems. EMP, though, going to come out now by Rakunyans on that side of the attack. Hoping to push it to this next checkpoint. They're very close, just under 2 meters. Now this is where their momentum is going to last. You see the Molten Core coming out to try and prevent them by Clankmeister as they get them off the point with just under 2 meters to go with 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a sigh of relief coming through from OTM. Definitely did not want to see a repeat of last time we saw these two teams play here on Hollywood. And now it's going to be a long walk back for the team of Rakunyans to discuss what they have. They have the Diva Bomb up, but with Jack taking an early hit, that's going to spend a little bit of time off the clock just getting healed up and ready for this next engage.
Oh no, and Milo's gonna get picked off. That's what they were looking for, to reduce the movement speed so that they can get back onto this point. You see Lum there, self-destruct gonna lead the way. Will it be able to gain value? It does actually do so on this aggressive side. They're gonna try and collapse quickly here as the overtime starts to tick, but Bob is there to contest, trying to keep them back, keeping the objective. What a heads-up play right now by Salt Shaker to buy enough time as Tobias gets back on the point to keep this defensive hold. Trying to regroup, rockets overhead, managing to do so is going to be that push to force them away, and oh my goodness, Bob actually did something.
Bob did one whole thing, and I couldn't be happier. We saw Torbjorn hammer kill, saw Bob do something. This has been a good round. But
I mean, I'm almost scared if we get a third benefit of something we very rarely see, because if the game will just crash.
Yeah, I've already had one crash today. I do not need another on my end. But I mean, you know, I know it was taking place off the point. I don't really want to focus too much on it, but we saw Clankmeister on that Torb in the last fight set up his turret, you know, back towards that initial wraparound where the elevator is. Near the second point spawn, and the Ana, I believe it was Milo or Lum, really trying their best to deal with him, and they spent most of their time just trying to fight that Torb and get rid of his turret rather than, you know, healing their team. And the fact that Clankmeister was able to stay up for so long in that battle, kind of in the back line, it was absolutely crucial in denying the heals to the team of the Rakunyans.
Very much so. And now as we do look at the attacking side, which is going to be off the map esports, You see the hover over the Bastion. We'll be curious to see that. But at least from the defensive side, we see this Goats composition. It's going to have the Zen Goats with the Ana. Something a little bit more that we've seen. We saw it also by Rakunyans on the defensive side of Hanamura. They're going to try and use that same comp. The Discord is going to be really pivotal for them right now. They need to make sure that they try and have that coordination to take out their focal point to bring this down on this initial attack.
Yeah, a crucial sacrifice you're giving up, though, is the Brig Shield Bash, and considering that Salt Shaker is going onto this Reaper, that may be a little bit more than costly. Maybe you give up the speed boost since you're on defense for that Shield Bash, but either way, it's expensive, and you have to be very careful to play around that Reaper.
And you see Rakunyans dropping down quickly as they are on this defensive side to hold back. Wanting to find again that early pick. These now early kill onto Clankmeister. Managing to get the Bastion out of the fight. That is critical for them to force them back. Again, that Discord are playing a vital role as the Coalescence now comes out on the attacking side from off the map. Trying to go to the inner right-hand side, looking for some damage onto Jack and flanking in the back line as they are going to now gain the momentum to completely shut down Rakunyans.
Yeah, the key there was that Incipient peaked just a little too far forward, trying to capitalize on the weak status of Tobias. Really just trying to get that Zenyatta kill, but instead Badger had that Coalescence up, popped it immediately as soon as they saw Incipient, and chased them down, keeping them focus fired, and, you know, Incipient dropping down made it a 4 versus 5 fight, I believe.
And now they have a good 5.5 minutes, just under it, to keep pressing this payload forward. And really, it's not too difficult for them to get here if they can keep this momentum and their ult economy, which is now going to be led with the Coalescence, trying to force them back. Nice response, though, from Rakunyans with the Transcendence. Earth Shatter going to be dropped, only gaining 1 on the knockback, but the grab is going to be eaten by Infernal. That is very critical for them on this defensive hold to try and prevent any more movement. Self-destruct easily going to be blocked by Jack, as they will stabilize with this car right between the doorway.
Yeah, Rakunyans gonna have to be very careful about playing this aggressively. They could have very easily gotten punished by that. Instead, gonna get punished by the Reaper ult.
Yep, Death Blossom gonna gain 2. Both supports, that's not what they want. Even though it is just this consistent back and forth, I have to say, what a scrappy fight. This is just like we saw in Lijiang earlier, where it was just everybody all over looking to try and find the last benefit of these fights, as you now see off the map finally gaining the opportunity to push the team of Rakunyans back.
Yeah, Milo getting killed by that Coalescence late gonna be costly, since there is not a whole lot of distance on this second Streets phase. It's gonna be about 1 or 2 more team fights in the grand scheme of things. And that being considered, if you're looking from your side on the Rakunyans, you're gonna have to really plan things out. You're gonna have to work to combo your ults and build that synergy.
Now in the backline, you see Salt Shaker trying to find the collapse onto the Graviton. Manages to get both support since they were pulled in the rear position of that grab. Unknown gonna claim another, as they are just trying to get this regroup and just find an opportunity to collapse back with the payload. But there's gonna be some staggers here. Infernal gonna go down, and they just don't want to get even further staggered here. That's gonna be a great negative to them.
Yeah, and Clankmeister on this Hanzo going to have a great opportunity to even further break down the team. It's a Dragon just to kind of zone out Milo and company. Really going to kind of put the squeeze onto the time bank of, or not the squeeze onto the time bank, but the cart progress of the Rakunyans here.
And now they're going to try and regroup again, seeing if this is their last opportunity to hold it back. Transcendence going to be forced now. Death Blossom going to be immediately stopped here by Lum with the melee attack. Clank, though, on the Hanzo in the back, trying to find some sidelines. In the rear position, you do see them now maneuvering back to try and contest against it. The Moira harassing with the Wrecking Ball. Self-destruct on the high ground as well. Going to get 1 with it as Clank gets another. Still continuing to ensue as this skirmish will continue on. Just about to get to that golden box of victory there for this match, as it's going to now be the unknown collapse with the Graviton. Worth it, starting to push it just under 5 meters. They want to get it. The Dragon Strike eaten, though, by Infernal. That is 2 consumptions and feeling full, but it will not be enough, as that is going to be now off the map, looking to complete this map of Hollywood, claiming victory.
Yeah, OTM going to be winning Hollywood and winning the grand finals here for the month of April. And man, Infernal really picked up their defense game there. It's just a shame that that was not more impactful into these fights, because, you know, that was the first time I think this fight we'd seen any ults get eaten by the D.Va, and you love to see that gameplay. That is crucial gameplay coming out of Divas.
That is just great job all around from both teams, but as you said, off the map esports claiming victory, and we just have to say, I can tell you right now that was an exciting night, and we have to give some great thanks to OmniCoach for sponsoring this, where they will be able to get, again, first, second, and third prize winnings that they have allowed us for this tournament. Absolutely stellar job as we do look to potentially now. I think if that's correct, Sir Walter, we are actually going to have the opportunity to speak with the winning team.
Yeah, I assume that in short order they will all be flooding in here. But before we start getting all raucous with you folks at home, don't forget to vote on your MVPs for this match. This was the grand finals, so this one's a little bit more crucial that we hear who you guys thought was the most vital player of tonight's festivities. Let us know down in the Twitch chat below. But it looks like we're at least gonna have I'm bad at math, so it looks like we have most of team off the map with us here. How are you guys feeling?
I think we're feeling pretty good. It was kind of an easy game.
Ooh,
Not gonna lie.
Easy game.
I mean, this
He
time they
plays
took a map
Bastion.
off us. They took a map off us this time. It wasn't a clean 3-0, but like I don't know, it was still pretty easy.
We clowned a little bit. It happens.
Yeah.
I played Reaper.
Our
We-
resident rank 1 Pigarissa one trick played Reaper, so I don't know.
We were with many comments talking about that. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a clean
The
Reaper.
Reaper is
My-
in the jungle.
My TPs were on point.
It was a secret
Yeah,
weapon.
the
we
boot,
were.
the bash. The bash was totally on point. The bash build.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do that again. We're gonna cut the feed. This time, I want you guys to say it was like the best game of your lives. You love being here, all that good stuff. I'm just messing with you, but
I'm not gonna.
There's
we're
always
the
someone
Goonies
who
there.
goes against the grain. There's always
the
someone,
Goonies.
and that's the teammate that goes against the grain.
Sure.
fair enough. I can't. There's always that one, I guess. But how you guys feeling after all this? I mean, you said it was easy, but any other thoughts in your brain?
That match was a little more fun than the last
Yeah.
one.
Was it was it because it was a little bit more competitive, or?
I think it's because our teammate tilted and made it harder for us.
Yeah. Tobias
Yeah.
halfway through, I think the second
He
map.
muted and
He just
he was
happened.
not happy. Because he was
Okay,
trying to get some frags in the back
okay,
on Lucio.
these DPS comps that we run, just like it's so like the hero I play. Like if I went Ryan, right, and I hit like pretty big shatters on like the first map, and then then I just like go Lucio and I just get looked at by Braid. I just get bashed every single time I try moving, and I can't play the game.
A hard shutdown.
Yeah, if you're playing a main tank versus goats and you don't have the same amount of support, you get bullied pretty hard.
It
So-
is.
I
It
know,
is
it's
seem like a tough life.
They thought they were prepared for us, but how can you prepare for us when we don't even know what we're gonna run?
and it kind of, we talked about that. It looks like I called you guys momentum breakers. Yeah.
Organized chaos.
Yeah. I mean, you guys would seem really confident on one comp, and then it's not working. We'll throw Clank on a Hog now, and now he's on Torb, now he's on Hanzo, and all these switches were really back and forth. It really broke the ankles of Rakunyans, it seemed, a little bit.
Yeah, we roll
they
the
couldn't
dice.
see. We put the pocket sand in the
roll
rise.
the dice and hope for boxcars.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was awesome. We appreciate you guys coming down here. We are just kind of waiting on that MVP vote to be coming through. But do you guys have anything you'd like to say to Twitch chat while we're waiting on that?
Don't play goats. Go bash.
Yes. It makes it more fun for us as casters as well.
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
100%.
don't give in. Don't give in. Play Torb. Play Junkrat.
Play Riss.
Play the May.
Play Reaper.
I like the May. I like the May pick there on Hollywood. I had no clue, I'll be honest, but what it was going for. But I like the way it was used, and it seemed to work for you guys.
Oh wait, by May?
I think so.
Oh no. When I went to their
wait.
spawn door and started shooting. No. Here's what happened. I started freezing the Ana. She walks into the spawn door. I thought that there was like a bit more of like an opening in there, so like I could still kill her. But then her health just goes all the way up, and she's not taking damage. So I couldn't even get the
subtle
trade.
golfer's clap. Subtle golfer's clap.
Yeah, and then their Diva Ryan just bust out the door. So I was just gone.
Yeah, I saw that switch come through, and I'm like, I think the point got capped right at that moment. So I'm like, I don't know if that was just a joke swap, and now they can't switch back, but they're stuck on the Mei for at least one team fight. We'll see how it plays out.
I mean, they weren't playing Diva for a bit, so like you could just kind of freeze. No
Yeah.
prob. And the Zara, they didn't have one. They're playing the Sombra Diva.
Now, would you guys say that y'all have this I don't want to call it one comp, but this unconventional play style to really go hard against GOAT comps, or is this just something that you guys have found rules over most comps?
I think it's just good versus goats. Like people, they just sit there, their brains are fried, like scrimming goats all day. They're not used to like having, like obviously people run 4 DPS, but they don't run as much spam. Like they don't run Junkrat as fair as much. They do like double sniper Sombra, you know. And I don't think like, especially the Diva player, they're not used to like being hit from so many different angles.
Yeah, and I was talking the first time on, I think it was Ilio, no, not Ilios, what am I talking about? Lijiang, the Diva player for Rakunyans, seemed to be attentive towards the Pharah, but then the second time around, it just seemed like the ults were coming through at such weird times when they had no, like, but they were either out of position or they were out of mech or they just weren't able to respond properly enough, and it seemed like you guys really took advantage of that. Is that a practice thing, or is that just kind of a game sense overall?
Oh no, we don't practice that. I just like
It's
like
kind
a
of
game
happens.
sense thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Consider that Razor
Okay.
got more grab team, then
I mean,
Tobias got 5 strikes.
That's the whole reason you have a team, is because you can't be in 2 places at once, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going after one guy, you have to do something about that from a different area. So
Also, TPing into the team creates so much space. It's actually, like, if our Rhino is being
Justifiable
pressured,
word.
it's such a good bait. It's
it
such a good
actually is.
bait.
Like, when our Rhino was getting like hard pressured, because like they had Ryan Zarya with like Diva and stuff, if his shield was gone, I'd just TP inside of them. They'd all look away from the Ryan and just look at me. And I just raid.
Certainly some good strats coming out. So once again, congratulations, OTM. I'm going to go ahead and drop the MVP vote knowledge on y'all right now. It's looking like Razor was voted for the MVP this game. So
He
Razor,
plays Bastion.
Bastion
Yeah.
player.
the Bastion coming through here with the big MVP votes.
Bastion. I don't know, he plays Bastion.
PP Bungo.
Yeah,
Okay,
PP Bungo.
PP Bungo.
I mean, to be fair, I think his Discord name's image is the bird that perches on Bastion's shoulder. So it's pretty much a verdict that it is the Bastion.
Exactly. Yeah. The SpongeBob.
Oh, is it? It looks like it's the bird for a second. It looks like it's the bird. It is SpongeBob, though.
It's
From a-
Dirty Dan SpongeBob.
From a distant glance, it looked like the bird, but we all just found out that it's SpongeBob because that's,
Now,
that's truly what matters.
Now the headcanon is that Ganymede is Dirty Dan SpongeBob. A little baby bird McCree on Bastion's shoulder every time now. That's my mental image. Thank you very much, Razor.
Yeah, it's high noon. I don't know.
He's a trendsetter. He is definitely a trendsetter.
There you go. And well, once again, guys, congratulations on your win here tonight and in the tournament. We appreciate you guys coming out, hanging with us for the last few minutes, answering a couple questions, and just in general goofing around about stuff. Razor, congratulations on MVP, and Rakunyans, congratulations on making it this far into the tournament. We enjoyed having you guys. And to all of our competitors, we enjoyed having all of you. But here from the Overwatch Watchers Brawl, I think we're about ready to wrap it up. For your casting pleasure, I have been Sir Waltham. Catch me on Twitter, Sir Waltham Gaming, and catch me on Twitch, Sir Waltham.
And for myself, it is Rich Red live for you viewers that might have enjoyed to go to the Twitch channel. And don't forget as well, it is listed on the screen, but for the next set of the Watchers Brawl, it will start May 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for you as we get it back underway. And it has been an absolute pleasure. And let's not forget a nice shout out here to our lovely sponsors powered by OmnetCoach.gg, who again has been kind enough to give those lovely first, second, and third prizes to our gamers. So take care, happy gaming, Sir Waltham, it is a pleasure, and once again, congratulations to OTM Esports.
Indeed.